All right. So would you like to go? I mean, we could jump into doing hands. We could do card by card review. What do you think would be best served to do here? I mean,
Uh,
let's see. Go up to you.
let's start doing some card by card, kind of some evaluations of from sort of different stuff. Um, because I'm curious to hear some of your thoughts about various selections that we've both been trying out because
Yeah.
our lists are quite different. Just to I'm
Yeah.
gonna
So
pull
I've
up the
got.
compare page
Yeah,
just to see how many cards
that's
different
a
we're on.
good idea actually, and I think I have the 7-8. I did one earlier today for a tournament. Here's my lists. It's weird. I mean,
27 cards different, so we're quite different.
wow.
But more than a quarter of the deck is quite a lot.
Yeah, and I think a big part of that. So today's deck, the one I think if you're using this the one from today's date, 7/18 was it?
Mhm.
Was a artifact heavy version leaning into surveillance camera loops, attempting to
Mhm.
basically infinitely cast and return to my hand using Valley Flood Caller, Mirror and Spy, Chakram Retriever as the sort of untap. But yeah, it's definitely different today. And then I think the biggest difference between us that for people to know if they look at the two is like I have a real aversion to playing interaction. It's bad. It's not a good thing on my part. It's why I'm not as good a player. It's why my results aren't as consistent. I tend to play into I just want to keep on tapping and tapping and untapping and convincing myself that retraction helix is enough removal. Like it's not good. So that'll be the bigger differences between our lists for sure. I'm definitely on Kitsa still, and I experiment with some stuff like Sakura Tribe Scout,
Mhm.
which is I don't know. It's gonna come back out again. I think. Anyway, what do you want to do? You want to put up the comparison page or uh,
Yeah, we can start with a comparison page, and then I have a few cards that I've thought about taking out. I kind of consider them as flex slots in the deck. But let's start with the comparison page, and then we can kind of go to the ones that you know
okay.
I
So
think are flexible.
I've got now up here the ones that are unique to your deck. So
Mhm.
starting with Badger Mole Cub. And Badger Mole Cub, I'm honestly I'm on. It's one of the cards that's probably like top three, considering going in on a regular basis. But for me, uh, untaps are more important than mana. I almost
Mhm.
never have mana as an issue necessarily. Um, but I also know there's probably some good shenanigans that can be done here with the fact that your lands are legendary and become creatures, and now Yorith can maybe untap them. What's your Badger Mole like? Is Badger Mole a staple in your mind at this point?
No, it's definitely one that I would consider a flex slot.
Yeah.
The primary reason I'm currently on it is because I am on a couple of extra X spells than I think you are. Like I said, Finale of Devastation, Green Sun Zenith, are both ones that are missing from your list.
Yep.
Um, and being able to have that option of being able to kind of explode out on mana a little bit um, has been pretty nice. I guess I kind of go back and forth on it. I haven't taken it out in a while. I'm probably going to try it again or to try taking it out again here soon. Another thing to talk about for Badger Mole Club specifically is it can be a combat based win condition. So if you can infinitely flicker it or recast it or infinitely get its ETB in some way, whether that be through Echo or like I said, Retraction Helix or something like that. You can infinitely put 1/1 counters on your lands and they get haste, um, which can help you kill the table.
Yep.
Uh, it's not like primary function of the card, but it is something to consider.
Right. And I think that reaction is also sort of the same way we look at Kinnan. Is like
Hmm.
it's nice, yeah, the extra mana is great. I kind of don't need it, but sometimes I do, but sometimes I don't. And more often than
Hmm.
not, it ends up just kind of being a maybe.
Yeah.
Um, I
I think if you're on Freed from the Real and Pemenzora, you probably should be playing Kinnan.
right, exactly.
Um,
And I think with Shang-Chi, it's also there's also a good reason too. Is
mhm.
you do that and you go get then you have Agatha's as well. It's not great. I want to say like it should be like your third string plan. But hey, if Kinnan's
Yeah.
your third string plan, it's not a bad plan necessarily.
Yeah.
All right. So let's lump together all the interaction, right? So Flusterstorm,
Mhm.
an offer, rapid hybridization, subtlety, force of will, pact of negation, mental misstep, force of negation, swan song. like I get it. I'm really off on the interaction package, and I'm gonna put some back. I really am. I'm working on it right now. I've got an event tomorrow. For me, I'm gonna go back in with pact, force of will, and probably offer. Um,
Mm.
but talk to me, I guess, just about interaction. Is this mostly? I mean, for me, I go this. Okay, this looks like a normal amount actually. So maybe I know I'm wrong. Is there anything about your meta that drives which of the interaction you pick, or how much free you use, and how much and why you have spell skite instead of maybe something else?
Yeah, so I in my opinion that I Alaundo is slow enough that in a meta where you regularly have at least one turbo pod at the table, I think you just have to be, respectful of the kinds of things that your opponents are doing. Um, it's Alondo's not a deck that I think can get away. Decks like Atali or what are some other parasitic ones that I would call parasitic that just don't play. What is the 5 mana Ang that that ETBs, decks like that just don't need are fast enough to be able to win second pretty consistently. Um, I just find that my meta is fast enough that I very consistently need a counterspell in my opening hand. So like I said, it's just me respecting that.
Yep. No, and I think that's been my issue. Is like I'll still do the same thing of being responsible, but it means I have to probably mull to 5 before I'm going to
Mhm,
grab a mind break trap. Um,
mhm,
and I won't be capable in my current deck of doing the Rog Ishai, Rhystic Slop piles, and I need to be able to honestly like to get past top 16. So I'm on the same page. I'll be making some of those changes tonight. And then in another grouping, we'd talk about the tutors. So we're off on Sylvan, Finale, Nature's Rhythm, uh,
Green
Green
Sun Zenith,
Suns.
I
I
think.
actually am running, so I don't know how that's showing up, but Green Suns should be good. But yeah, I tend to run less tutors, and again, it's just because I feel like everything I see should be playable and proactive. Where these
Mhm,
feel like I'm spending mana, I'm not necessarily getting what I want because they might counter it. They don't know my deck usually, and I'm
mhm,
almost better off just drawing some other card. I know I'm wrong.
mhm.
I know I'm wrong again, but I mean, how much I mean, especially with Nature's Rhythm these days. How many tutors are you minimum in your deck? Is this 4 or 5?
Um, I- I'm not super high on tutors personally. Like I said, the tutor package right now is mostly just me being able to respect the fact that, um, Unctus I would consider Unctus being a primary win condition in the deck.
Sure.
Um, like I said, Alondo's not a deck that can generate, gobs and gobs of mana, so a lot of the X spells are like I said, it kind of comes back to your, the deck building philosophy of keeping your curve low, being able to, cast a Finale of Devastation for X's 3, tends to be a pretty important, mana value, being able to produce 5 mana. Like I said, it, there's not a specific number of tutors that I think is correct. Um, like I said, Finale's in there because it helps Unctus, not only find Unctus, but also on the back end to reanimate a fastest Oracle if I need to. Um, Green Sun Zenith, I, kind of go back and forth on. I'm currently playing it because I think, being able to have more access to Wirewood Symbiote is important.
Okay.
Because I do think that card is that powerful and is worth tutoring for. Or even the counterpart to it, which would be Copperhorn Scout. In a lot of cases, being able to get that double trigger, because Copperhorn Scout is an elf, it works supremely well and synergizes tremendously between if you have Wirewood Symbiote, Copperhorn Scout, and Alaundo out, it represents what is it, one, two, three, four activations in one turn cycle just for having two 1 mana creatures in play. Um,
So that's actually a really good point about I think like Sylvan Tutor and Whirly Tutor is like
mhm,
it's going to be if you got one let's say two Alaundo activations turn into a Copper Horn, right? You go Sylvan
Hmm.
Tutor, Copper Horn on top, activate Alaundo, draw the Copper Horn, exile with 1 time counter on it, and then you get your second activation, and now you've got that times whatever. I will
Yeah.
agree, like I highly agree that like funny enough, more often than not, I'm actually tutoring for the Copper Horn. As long as I
Hmm.
know I've got, let's say, 3 Alaundo activations, just in case I need an emergency one, right? But
Hmm.
it'll pay off, almost every time.
Yeah.
Um, Having Dryad Arbor, right? Being able to get the X equals 0 for both Finale and for Green Suns makes a lot of sense. And even if Nature's Rhythm whiffs, it's in your graveyard, and now you can cast it again. So
Yeah.
those three in particular to me make a ton of sense.
Fun-
Sylvan
Funnily
Tutor,
enough, I'm not actually on Dryad Arbor. I probably should be. I've kind of gone back and forth on it. Um, I
well,
probably am actually going to replace a basic forest with Dryad Arbor. Come to think of it, but
yeah, I actually just got back on it. What I did was I kind of audited my deck for how many cards do I have that contribute to a turn two Alaundo? And I've been really
Mhm.
trying to focus on that turn two cast of Alaundo, and Green Suns with Dryad Arbor definitely plays into it. We talked the other day about Tidal Bore.
Yep.
There's a lot of just like weird little sneaky ways. Now, most of the time, it means you're tapping out on turn two, and like you said, if you don't have free interaction for the turbo deck, like you signed your own death warrant at that point. But
Yeah.
anyway, okay. Other differences. Loki, you're trying out right now. I think I tried it out for a day. I was really sort of just I think I took it out for
I
one Shitong, and I thought they were both about the same productivity, and it wasn't much. But
yeah.
yeah,
I'm pretty underwhelmed by this card so far, which
yeah,
is kind of surprising. I thought it was going to be, a much better, a much, more efficient card draw engine, but being able to be limited to only once each turn, and it needs other stuff in order to be active, and being a one drop too, dies immediately to Orcish Bowmaster, just like Fairy Mastermind.
yeah,
I think I'm pretty underwhelmed by its ability so far.
yeah. I think in
It's
casual,
it's another one of the flex slots.
it makes a lot of sense in casual, but it's really not going to do anything. So
Mhm.
volatile, I guess, as removal for the most part. Or I mean, obviously you can steal something for value in a regular once in a while, like a
Mhm.
Kinnan. Um,
Hexing Squelcher, I literally did that the other day on
nice.
Wednesday. Yeah, like I said, that's Hexing Squelcher is part of that tutor package, just like Spellskite is.
Yeah.
Um,
And
so
how does the Echo doubling of this work? You can't exchange it twice, right? So how does the doubling of this trigger work?
so basically, what you do is, and it enters. You target a creature an opponent controls. Um, you hold priority on that ETB trigger. You put a copy of it onto the stack with Echo. Um, because part of the ability is paying energy, you then get another set of energy when you copy it. So then the when you copy the ability, that one resolves. You choose new targets. You'll still exchange control of those creatures. So say for example, I'm casting the Storm Drake with an Echo in play. I'm trying to take control of a Thrasios, but another opponent also has a Draenith Magistrate or something like that. What you can do is, with the copy of the ability, you can steal the Draenith Magistrate just like you normally would. So the owner of Draenith now has a Storm Drake. You now have a Draenith. Then the original one resolves still, even if you're not in control of the Drake anymore, you still control the ability, which is what the important part. So then you'll exchange control of Storm Drake and Thrasios, which is the original target. So you'll give the Rogsai player a Thrasios that they'll never have enough mana to do anything with, or I guess that's a blue farm player for it. We'll say that since they're the one with the Draenith Magistrate. So the owner of the Draenith Magistrate now has a Thrasios. The owner of the Thrasios now has a Storm Drake, and you have a Draenith Magistrate. So it kind of it ping pongs back again.
Wild.
Um,
Okay.
you
Wow.
know,
And then I'm assuming Gilded Drake, same thing, more or less,
yeah,
or is it because of the energy? Okay.
Yeah, I'm playing Storm Drake over Gilded Drake specifically because there are creatures, stacks creatures specifically that we do care about. I'm in this case I'm thinking like hard stacks creature, rule of law creatures, um, stuff like that that would otherwise be very annoying for us, and being able to just sacrifice them and get rid of them completely, as opposed to Gilded Drake, which would just gain control of them but wouldn't solve your problem.
Yeah,
Uh,
you want to pop.
that's why Storm Drake over Gilded Drake.
Yep,
For me.
I like that. Let's see. Born Upon a Wind.
Mm-hmm.
One of my philosophies, again, I always know I'm wrong here, is like my philosophy is that Alaundo is my Flash.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, I'm playing Valley Floodcaller finally because I'm doing the Retraction Helix stuff. Born
Mm-hmm.
Upon a Wind. I don't know. I guess I need to get used to the idea that we should be winning at flash speed. So now you're gonna Born Upon a Wind, you're gonna flash in an Unctus, and
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna do that on top. Is that does that happen? Is that what do you expect to have happen? Is like Unctus
Yeah,
in?
that's kind of the general idea of it. It's funny you say that. The same philosophy that applies to Born Upon a Wind, I would question as to why I'm not playing Shang-Chi. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's one of those, uh, like I said, the same kind of philosophy applies to those kinds of cards. Alaundo is our haste enabler, um, and our flash outlet. So why would you play either one? In my case, I'm playing Born Upon a Wind specifically, like I said, specifically because of Unctus and um, rewrite history and stuff like that. Normally, what I do is, even if you cast Unctus off of Alaundo activation, you may not necessarily have enough Alaundo activations to then cast a Thassa's Oracle. But if you're able to loot through your library, you can find Born Upon a Wind and Thassa's Oracle and still be able to complete that win at instant speed.
Yep. Sorry, I just realized that we were comparing this against my list from like a month ago, not not the one that I was actually using today. I mean, and it'll be interesting because at least it'll generate a few more differences here. But I was like,
Mhm.
oh no, I'm definitely running that card. I don't know what we're talking about. Now I will say there's a couple lands that we're different on. Botanical Sanctum,
Mhm.
the Verge, and then you run a forest where I'm running Dryad Arbor, I believe, instead. And then I've also
Mhm.
taken out Shifting Woodland on a regular basis. Anything about those in particular, or maybe let's talk about maybe number of lands you're running versus what I'm running. I tend to run very like maybe 2 to 3 thinner than you do.
Mhm.
What else?
I think that comes down to personal preference and deck building philosophy. I'm a very, like I said, because I'm running counter spells, I'm a very, responsible Magic player. I don't want to, mull myself into oblivion,
Yep.
not being able to find enough lands. Um, for Shifting Woodland, I kind of like I think of Shifting Woodland as taking the Dryad Arbor spot for me. Um, they kind of fill a similar role. They would, Shifting Woodland can come in tapped. Dryad Arbor is summoning sick. Um, I think, having Shifting Woodland being able to, come in and become a copy of a countered, Intruder Alarm or Unctus or, one of our combo pieces, Chakram Retriever, something like that. Um, I think is a worthwhile inclusion. I don't think it's a mandatory card that you have to play, of course, but I think I prefer it over Dryad Arbor at this moment in time.
Yep. For me it's I've had it in too many opening hands where it's going to come in
Mhm.
tapped and it pissed me off. So I just
Yeah.
and the other positive never happened for me. And maybe this has to do with my Unctus
Hmm.
difference, right? Is like if you're using Unctus, oh yeah, you're filling your graveyard. You'd love to have a Shifting Woodland that becomes anything.
Hmm.
And so I think I get that that's probably the bigger difference is that I'm not filling my graveyard ever. Theoretically, I mean, obviously, yes, I am a little bit, but not in the way that you are. So I could see that being they have to kind of go hand in hand. I'd have to probably shift back.
Hmm.
I don't play a basic forest, and I could be convinced to do it. Um, and I think we both have always said, I think you tried hedge maze. I've never tried hedge maze, but I think at this point we both said no surveil. It's not valuable to our deck.
Yeah.
We're not doing that.
I'm. I'm.
We need the mana.
Yeah. I'm not a fan. I've never been a fan of the hedge maze
Yeah.
personally. I have considered running the new Turbulent Wilderness. The this land enters tapped unless your opponents control 8 or more lands. I've thought about it. I'm not convinced it's good enough. But it is another fetchable source if you find yourself, wanting more fetch sources. Um,
The whole set of them, it looks like. Okay. Turbulent Wilderness.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, Turbulent Wilderness is the one that I'm referring to for us.
It's fetching
Um,
for. Why is this
let's
not
say
color? What is happening? Wow. Anyway.
anyway,
Yeah.
like I said, 8
Oh,
or
it's
more
fetching. Okay.
lands is
Yeah.
is not super common, or at least not common enough for me to feel comfortable, putting it into the deck. So I just kind of bit the bullet, played a basic, um, not had to worry about whether or not my land is going to come in tapped, but still having enough fetchable sources to make sure that my fetch lands are still online even after the first 3, 4 at that point.
Right. So forever and ever, you've played Boreal Druid, and I have not. And for me, it's because of the colorless. How do but I get it. It's an elf.
Mhm.
Why? When you have taken it out, why do you miss it enough? Is it really that valuable? Do I need this one more dork in my deck?
Like I play it for Wirewood Symbiote almost specifically.
Yeah.
Being able to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 elves plus Seeker of Skyrake and Formidable Speaker and Elder Spirit Guide, which
Yep.
I don't really include those, but 7 elves, I think is a number that we reasonably want to be at. Um, and also for consistency's sake, because I'm playing the Botanical Sanctum and the additional dual lands that can produce both types immediately, having it be colorless doesn't affect my ability to cast a 3-drop on turn 2. So, and in my untappers, um, it still allows me to cast those, Erith, Kelpie Guide, North Pole Patrol, any of those.
Sure.
Um,
Yep.
it just helps with that kind of consistency and doesn't detract from the colorless doesn't detract from my ability to cast my spells.
There's a good question. Is that kind of aside from One Ring, Mana Vault, Grim Monolith, sometimes in my stuff, we don't really play Talisman of Curiosity or Felwar Stone or Arcane Signet. Why?
For me, it's a couple of different reasons. Um, for me, the play patterns of this deck tend to go 1-drop on 1, 3-drop on turn 2, in some capacity. Whatever 3-drop that or whatever it might be, or in even 2-drop plus a counterspell on turn 2, leave up a Swan Song or a Offer You Can't Refuse or Flusterstorm or something like that. In the cases of against being a turbo player. Um, that's the primary reason, being able to have acceleration on 1 as opposed to waiting until turn 2. Um, the other aspect of that is intruder alarm count, being able to have a sufficient number of creatures, um, is very important. It's one of the things that makes intruder alarm so powerful in the deck is, um, and why you're so rare to fizzle with it is because your the density of creatures is so high. I'm on 33 creatures. Yeah, 33 creatures. So a third of the deck is creatures. Um, and for every 2 mana rock you play, it's one less creature.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I think it generally. I hate to say it, like they're too slow. They're 1 mana slower than the rocks, and
Mm-hmm.
I think when I started playing, OBM was a much bigger problem for dorks. But
Mm-hmm.
OBM pings, I don't know. At that point, they're not the highest priority. Yeah, there's usually a butt of one. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just I wasn't catching strays as often as I thought, so it was fine.
Yeah.
I think if we
And
could,
another part about Bowmasters is, um, because all of our 3 mana creatures have larger butts, so, 1/4s, 2/3s, 2/4s, whatever.
yep,
Um, Once you get past quite literally turn 2, it's you care about Bowmasters a lot less. Obviously you still care because it still affects Cradle Count and Wirewood Symbiote and all that kind of stuff. Like it still pings off creatures, but
right. Like
it doesn't stop your game plan hard in its tracks.
the wheels going off and doesn't get countered.
Yeah.
It's worse than just that. It's not. Yeah, that's not the worst of your problems. Okay. Um. So the other, yeah, I would say the one other consideration for this Badger Mole slot, if we could find a one in a green elf dork or some sort of utility creature that slot or the Loki slot. I think that's
Mhm.
that's those are the considering slots that get played around with a good amount. For me, I think
Yeah.
one of those right now is Shang-Chi. Probably will be a
Mhm.
staple, more or less. But you're definitely messing around with those those one and those the two slot is has some interesting options. Um,
Yeah.
Weird ones, that we don't really mess around with too much, like Pili Pala.
Mhm.
Again, dangerous, but just fun to consider. These kinds of things.
Mhm.
All right, so
Yeah,
then
I think the two drop slot is actually an interesting thing to talk about. Is
yeah,
like I said, I do consider Badger Mole Cub, Stormdrake, Loki, Spellskite. I would consider all of those as pretty flexible slots. I would not consider them to be staples of the deck that you must run by any means. Um, I think if you want to play around with that two drop slot, there's plenty of room to play around with it. Whether you want to play Kitsa or Wan Shi Tong or Shang Chi or something like that. Like I don't think any of those options are wrong by any means.
yep,
It kind of those are what I would consider your meta slots. Like I said, I'm playing Stormdrake. Um, Destiny Spinner's perfectly reasonable. Um,
Collector
you
Oof.
know,
I think you play.
Collector Oof. Yep. Flesh Duplicate. Like I said, there's a lot of options in that two drop slot. Um, and I think all of them are worth considering.
Yeah, cool. Let's see. Let's talk about endurance for a minute,
Mhm.
um, because again, something that comes in and out of my deck, because I've literally never had the opportunity to like have it go off until today. Like I was
Mhm.
playing today and I was like, this is the situation we've always talked about, Scott. So endurance is going back in, I think, but just talk about it. So I know the kind of normal benefits. Obviously, the part that exiles an opponent's graveyard, sure. The part that loops and helps us with our own Green Sun's Fairy Mastermind, cool.
Mhm.
The cheap intruder alarm trigger that we can get out of it.
That's the big
Uh,
one for me.
what's that?
They say that's actually one of the biggest ones. That's one of the reasons
Yes,
I'm also
right.
playing
That's
Subtlety is literally flash, instant speed, additional way to trigger intruder alarm is huge sometimes.
yeah. Um, and then I also wonder, can we retraction helix this in response to the evoke trigger?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
right. Just like people have been doing vibrance. So we
Mhm.
could technically bring it back if we had another green card. Now we get another intruder alarm, which I'm sure we could hard cast it at that point if we got an intruder alarm off. So we're fine no matter
Yeah.
what. What else on endurance? Copy it with Echo.
Hmm.
Target two players. Cool.
Yep.
I think that's about it.
Yeah, like I said, that's pretty much everything to do with endurance. It's a reacher when you need it, as far as relevant as that is. Sometimes there's a random flyer that you need to be able to block. A Tivit, for example, that one's
Yeah.
a pretty reasonable one that you'll need to block sometimes. Um,
Been
I
the
said it's
what I had liked, and I took a Wan Shitong out, but I think that's was a nice benefit to Wan Shitong was you usually got big enough to take care of Tivit.
mm, yeah. And one thing to talk about for all of these cards, in deck building philosophy in general, you want every card in this deck to pull multiple duties. Um,
Yeah, for
like I
sure.
said, that's one of the things I don't like about Loki is it's only there to draw cards. You want to be able to quote unquote eat the entire buffalo for every card that you put in this deck because it is a synergistic deck. Um, you need every line of text that you can get basically.
It's so true. Yeah, and you need to realize what synergies you break by taking out cards. And if you don't know,
Hmm.
if you don't realize that or know that, you can really you won't know it. You won't know it right away, but you'll feel it as you start alondoing through the deck. Like you can
Yep.
feel when a deck is properly tuned that the next draw is always going to get you to the next one, and it's just right there on the curve. It's right there on the
Hmm.
types of spells, and then all of a sudden you go to play around with hey, I'll take Spell Seeker out and I'll put in you know my Destiny Spinner, and all of a sudden the deck's broken.
Yep.
It's very finicky in that sense, and it's not that there's any it's not wrong. It's just that you just have to find the combination of synergies to get you to one of those peaks,
Yeah.
and and there's multiple ways to get there. So it's which makes the deck really fun to build, but it makes it really frustrating when you're trying something out and it breaks everything,
Yeah.
So I got here's the unique to my deck. If you can see it, I'll kind of
Yep.
let you peruse, and if you want to ask away, I'm happy to go through any of them.
Yeah. Let's say Eternal Witness and Hidden Strings are both, I think of those as both being echo cards at the moment. Considerations for that new edition. I've really considered putting Eternal Witness back into the deck recently. I think the utility of it, I think, is going to be pretty important, especially, because I am going to start filling my graveyard a little more aggressively with Rewrite History. Like I said, the creature tutors on it as well, being able to pick back up a mass up and untap spell, and letting that be not be an untapper, but effectively be an untapper once you've dug through your deck a little bit. I think is going to be I think is something that I'm really considering.
Yeah, that
Hidden
that
Strings,
that
I'm
loop is super interesting to me. So I'm all about it. Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
mm,
Strings.
as I say, Hidden Strings is one that I'm not convinced by yet. I just don't foresee us having enough ability to attack with our creatures in a meaningful way. All of our creatures are very small. They don't really attack profitably into almost any blocker, basically. Um,
Yeah.
I'm
So
not convinced by Hidden Strings just yet.
yeah, and I think it's weird to say this, but it literally comes down to the fact that Birds of Paradise is a 0/1.
Yeah,
That is literally the only reason this doesn't work.
yeah.
Now today I had it on a Quirion Ranger, and it got me enough mana to cast a Shang-Chi, and I had an Alaundo that had bounced in my hand. Cool.
Hmm.
First time I got that, where I got to have the Shang-Chi, I got to have the Alaundo activation from hand, all because of this Hidden Strings, damage trigger. I will say I agree with you that it really doesn't happen as often as I'd like, but the rate on it I don't want to say, but like it works because it's two permanents, right? So we can do
Hmm.
so much more with untapping two permanents than we can with untapping two artifacts or two, right? Like it's a beautiful thing that it lets you be super flexible. And then if you get a little bonus of getting in on someone, you're gonna take better advantage of it than most. And um, I think, and then Kitsa can copy it too if you just happen to have an extra Kitsa up. Now, again, I'm playing Kitsa, so it's different. I'm looking for all of these extra opportunities with Kitsa to copy a spell here or there, right?
Hmm.
But yeah, Hidden Strings to me is currently like staple. Um,
Yeah,
and I think that again goes back to the fact that I'm playing things like Grim Monolith, though, the One Ring, where I have some bigger value untaps that are really hard to keep in the deck. Honestly, they
yeah,
don't, because they don't pay off all the time, and I know that that's exactly where Unctus should go, is where the one ring slot is Unctus's slot.
yeah. I also think about it being in my opening hand, and
Oh
I
yes,
don't foresee it, you know, being as good on turns 1 through 3 as I wish it was. You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, it saved me from Tim Dargo pinging on turn two. Like, cool, but it wasn't.
Mhm.
That's not gonna save you from the game. Like, it's not gonna do it. So,
Yeah,
it's nice to get the extra cards, and I think because going back to how I described my deck being like very thin on cards, like especially draw. When I get the One Ring out, it's like quenching my thirst. I needed cards badly, so I love seeing
hmm,
it every time, and I think that's why I still keep it in. Is that I still like to see it.
yeah.
Yeah, uh, that's where I'm at with Hidden Strings.
Another thing to consider with Hidden Strings is it does combo with Echo. At least the combat damage trigger. It does technically come from a creature source. I asked a judge about that one.
What?
Um, yeah,
The Cipher
you
trigger?
yeah you the cipher trigger comes from the creature. I did confirm with a judge. It
Whoa.
is copyable with
Because the
Echo.
trigger's coming from the creature dealing combat damage, I bet.
Yeah,
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so Echo has
yeah,
another reason to be here. So now,
yeah.
again, every thing we tell ourselves about Echo, though, GoGo does the same and more, but just for one more. Well, one more no, yeah, just one more in the cost to copy it. Um, but it's not as good. But it's hard. It actually matters. That extra one, I think, matters.
before you continue on, I think your voice is getting a little robotic. Not sure what's happening with your mic.
Oh, maybe my let me see. I might be just getting too loud.
I see.
I'm getting too excited. Let me turn down the this thing here. Testing, testing, testing.
Feel a little robotic.
And when you say it's just like static,
So you might have too many tabs or something open. Your RAM might be
yeah, let's
reached its limit.
do that.
Yes, and I can share my screen. I don't know if you're recording the Discord channel or
I'm just recording my
or what.
desktop essentially, but I have no.
Okay.
Let me just try to restart Chrome and
Yeah.
restart.
So your voice seems fine now. So I assume that it was just too many tabs and your
Oh, you know
RAM
what it
was
was?
being
It was
stretched.
probably that article that I was looking at for the turbulent cards.
Oh, yeah, that's possible.
It was sucking down. Let's see here. Back to OBS. OBS is good. We're still recording. Cool.
Cool.
All right. So we were back.
So what were you saying about it kind of started cutting off when you were talking about the synergy between echo and hidden strings.
Oh, that was amazing. And I was saying, but the question I had is, but GoGo is only one more, and I know it does make a difference. But every positive we keep finding for Echo puts another checkbox in my head of like we should still be playing GoGo. We should still be playing GoGo. But I haven't had a great game with it yet. I think I'm going to keep it in the sideboard for now. What do you think about GoGo? I mean, you played it for a while. Your last primer, I think, was based on it, right?
Yeah, I tried it for a little bit. I was, like I said, it. I think if we made more mana more consistently, it's a card that requires other slots in the deck,
We almost have to be like
which
the
isn't something
Gaea's
that's.
Cradle deck, like in order to make it work.
Yeah, you really do have to be on Grim Monolith and Mana Vault and Cradle and you know a big mana dork or something like that to be able to produce that much mana. And I guess I'm not currently willing to spend that many slots in my 99 to accommodate Go-Go, basically.
Well, understood. Absolutely. What else we got?
I don't know. I can't see. You're not sharing your screen anymore.
Oh, jeez. New browser share screen. Is that coming through now?
Yes, it sure is.
We were here at Eternal Witness in Strings. Oops.
Like I said, Tezzeret, I assume, is just primarily because of the sewer valence cam shenanigans at the moment.
Exactly. And honestly,
it does untap a creature.
I mean, it's going to come out tonight. I think even just because it's not instant speed, it's not. Like if I saw that in the middle of a battle, I'd be pissed. So I'm going to take it out.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I think that's the biggest problem I've had with any time anybody suggested a planeswalker in this deck.
Like I could just I could do Trinket Mage, I could do Fabricate, I could do Transmute Artifact.
Yeah.
So I think I'll probably I'll mess around with that one.
Yeah. Flooded Grove, accommodating for Pemenzor and Frame Real. I don't see any trouble with that one. Irma, I guess it is one that we had talked about for Irith. I think waiting for combat, is more than I'm willing to ask. Having it just not have relevant text on, when you're trying to go off at instant speed is too much for me.
Yep. No, I agree.
Hullbreaker Horror is, sewer valence cam accommodation. I don't think I'm going to be ever be putting a 7-drop into this deck.
Well, let me ask you. I was actually I was thinking about swapping it out for Displacer Kitten. And wondering if I could get the same effect, and then if I could look anywhere else around the deck for Displacer Kitten and stuff. But I think that's a whole other conversation because I think there is a Displacer Kitten version of our deck, but I don't think I don't think it's close to this.
Yeah, I think in order to make Displacer Kitten work, like I said, you would certainly want to be on Eternal Witness is the number one reason. Um, I just don't foresee enough reasonable enter the battlefield effects that you would really want to be breaking.
I mean, I don't even play corridor monitor as it is. I mean,
Yeah.
which I'm considering more and more these days because of this loop. The nice thing is that if you do this surveillance loop thing, you can stack a couple of. Eventually, after you get enough triggers, right? You have a mirror and spy out. Okay, now I've copied the mirror and spy, or now I've got a mirror and a chakram,
Mhm.
and I've got surveillance camera, and I mean, it just once you have a couple of them, obviously you're off to the races. But it's just I think
Yeah.
it takes a little too much to build to that. Otherwise you have to be very narrow. It's surveillance with one, with mirror and spy with retraction helix, and that's all you're doing
Mhm.
until Alaundo gets you some more value.
Yeah.
Spending all this mana like Hullbreaker to get you the bouncing and part of it is not honestly. I'm almost not even wanting. I'm like having retraction helix and banishing act sometimes feels like too much.
Mhm.
And I think if I had one of those be mystical tutor maybe instead and go, hey, okay, instead I get a mystical tutor, now I either go get it or I go get something more more useful in this moment.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah,
Uh,
no Hullbreaker.
yeah. You mentioned Mirror and Spy. I think if I was going to play Mirror and Spy, I would want like 30 artifacts, not the like 10 maybe that we get right now. Um,
I did.
I would want like four more versions of uh, Surveillance Cam before I was really super interested in that card.
Yeah.
Like I said, there was a version where I was like trying really hard to get it to work, and it just I was never convinced that it was a sufficient number of artifacts and stuff that was worthwhile.
Yeah. I'm still working on this. This is my artifacts version. We don't go down, but
Mhm.
I think yeah, I can only get it to like 17 to 20 before you start playing things like Patriarch's Seal, right? Which
Yeah,
maybe I have to. Maybe that's as far as you have to go, but I'm not there yet. That's
yeah. Like I said, I would want three versions of Surveillance Cam before I was super excited about it.
yeah, exactly.
Is a Banishing Knack. You're on both. I'm only on one.
Yep.
Makes complete sense for the surveillance cam stuff. Mockingbird, I've never been convinced by Mockingbird. X equals 0 means it just comes in as a 1/1 with no other text. It can't clone anything. If you're casting it off of Alaundo, at least.
Wait, what?
Um, yeah,
It can copy
you're not
something
spending
that's
mana.
a one, right?
No, you're not spending mana on it.
Oh, I've been misplaying that. That's not good. That's coming out of the deck. Yeah, I thought. Oh, I feel like such an
No, it does not
asshole.
work that.
Oh no.
So you're not spending mana, so it's just a
Oh,
1 mana 1/1
well,
flyer.
hey, look, I just got a free spot. That's great. That Sanctus is where to go. Wow. Okay, well, I'm glad to talk to you. I mean, appreciate you. That's all right.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. No Mockingbird. Yep. Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi is actually an interesting one to talk about for sure. It's one of the, a lot of people thinking it being, if your deck cares about activated abilities, you should probably be playing it. That might be true. It's certainly a card that I'm willing to try to, replace Loki or Stormdrake or Badgermole Cover or Spellskite or something like one of my flexible slots.
Yeah.
Like I said, you would thought that logic for a Born Upon a Wind as Alano being the Flash enabler. I think of Alano being the haste enabler.
Right.
Um, every it's so rare that I would be taking a turn off to cast a Shang-Chi before I cast an Alando. Like I don't know, the 2 mana to activate creature abilities just doesn't do anything for me. It's more relevant for you because you're playing Go-Go and Kitsa, but I actively have chosen creatures that don't have an activated ability cost associated with them,
Yep.
outside of Formidable Speaker and Echo. Um, like I said, it just doesn't fit the ideas that I have for the deck most of the time.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's almost a little bit of a distraction. It almost falls in the
Hmm.
same. It falls like the same category as Displacer Kitten. Almost like it
Hmm.
seems like it should be great, but there might be enough downside here where it's like playing your Mystic Remora on turn one. You're not going to have any
Hmm.
mana ever again. All right,
Yeah.
you're going to keep drawing your cards. Congratulations, but you're stuck now. Now it's turn four, and you're casting Alaundo for the first time, and everybody's already done their thing.
Yep.
I can see that for sure. Now, as a recovery plan, I like it, but
Mhm.
I'd rather actually have like, I don't know, magic damper, just something that gives me hexproof. Because honestly, people are just taking out
Yeah.
Alaundo for the most part. Like, I'll take 3 or 4 magic damper shore ups, octopus form, just to stop the table from screwing me over, kind of instead.
Yeah. I feel 100% the same way about that. I would replace Shang-Chi with a magic damper or something like that. Um,
Because the reason you
if that
have
was my
Shang-Chi is
list.
because you're going to have to cast Alaundo again because they got rid of it. Well, okay, well then stop that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Um,
That's my opinion on it. I would rather you just cast a Londo a turn sooner rather than take a turn off to cast a Shang-Chi beforehand.
yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. In terms of, average play pattern of the deck, which is where I tend to think about it.
Yep.
Um, Sewer Valence Cam, I think that combo is super, perfectly reasonable with, Valley Flood Collar, Banishing Knack, Retraction Helix.
Yeah.
I don't have any objections with it. I think it's, like I said, perfectly reasonable. Um, like I said, Born Upon a Wind is currently taking the Valley Flood Caller spot. You can't cast a creature spell, you know, at instant speed with Valley Flood Caller. It just doesn't do the same thing.
Right.
Uh, I think Super Valence Canvas is a perfectly reasonable card just in the 99 generically, even if you're not specifically trying to combo with it. Um,
I agree. I mean, I think I've done it. I've seen enough with it now that even if I just have it with a banishing knack, even without Valley Flood Claw and untapper, like I'm still getting 3, 4 untaps out of cycling in the same way that we get value out of Wirewood Symbiote and Quarian Ranger if we if we pop them around, right?
mhm.
So yeah, it's been awesome. I think there's even more to do with it. Like I'm looking at things like, oh, the Otawara, I can return it to my hand with Otawara. Like trying to find a few more Chain of Vapor style bounce effects, like small synergistic opportunities where yes, this is interaction, but it's also an untapper for me. It's like Transmute Artifact. It basically becomes you know two and a colorless for the surveillance camera
Mhm.
as an untap. That's not a great rate, obviously, but hopefully I get 2 out of it. I don't know. I'm trying to talk myself into this whole artifact thing, but we can moving on.
I think the actual artifact stuff is a little cope. I think Valley Flood Color Sewer Valence Camp is perfectly reasonable.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it's like a third or fourth. Like you're not looking for this number one. It's not the
yeah, it's something you happen into
yeah, which is a nice
when you're
little thing.
going, storming off. Like I said, I think the only reason I'm not currently on either of those cards is because of the Unctus plan. Born Upon a Wind takes my Valley Flood Color spot. Um, for me, it's it's more about instant speed versus Alaundo resilience. Um,
Yep.
but like I said, it's perfectly reasonable. Emerald Charm, I have never actually included it in the deck. To be honest, I could see it being fine just untapping a permanent for a green. Um, destroying target enchantment is fine. Target an over breach or a Rhystic Study or something like that. But
Yeah, I think
I,
that's been
I
the
just haven't found that it
surprising
would be
part.
doing it enough.
The destroy target enchantment has worked out, but at the same time, like more often than not, again because it's untapped target permanent, is more flexible.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Tends to just help me get to my turn to Alaundo sometimes even.
Yep.
But yeah, I agree. It definitely could be. It could be a magic damper. It could be an octopus form, and I might be just as happy because now I've got hexproof.
Yeah. For me, that spot is just taken up by a counterspell, basically.
Yes. Yeah. Agree. Yep.
Um, Otawara is super fine. I don't have any objection to Otawara. Like I said, it's perfectly reasonable card. I just don't have enough spots for it because I prioritize having dual lands uh, so much more. I think,
Yep.
or having access to both colors on turn one as often as possible. But like I said, super reasonable interaction card. We've already gone over Freed from the Real and Pemon's Aura. Plus Duplicate, I think running a clone in the deck is perfectly reasonable. That slot for me is currently being taken by Voltol Stormdrake. I say they kind of fill a similar role.
Yep.
Um, my biggest problem is it's so rare that I want to actually clone somebody else's permanents or creatures. Um, and I'd rather just steal them. I'd rather just me have them and you not have them as opposed to just copying them.
Yeah,
That's the way I see it, at least. Obviously you can come down and clone your own things. You can come down and clone a forensic researcher or something like that. Um, like I said, it's just one of those flex slots for Spellskite, Loki, Vegetable Cub.
yeah. I'm trying. I mean, it's won me a game to copy a Thoracle that flopped on somebody else's, but there's other ways to do it. It doesn't. This isn't the only way to get that result. So, yep. I like it too, just because it is a 2-drop for intruder alarm is like
Mm-hmm.
usually I can make it something, and then I can use Wirewood or whatever to get it back to my hand, or I make it a copy of Wirewood, and it
Mm-hmm.
gives me a few more of those. That's been nice.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think it's I might swap Loki out for it. I don't know yet,
Yeah.
but
Right. Yep.
it's
Yep.
something I'm talking about. Neoform. I've never been convinced by the sacrifice tutor effects. We're kind of a mass accumulation kind of deck, and converting one of your resources into another resource just has never been super appealing to me. I think if I was going to play one of those, it would be Eldritch Evolution, so I could convert a 3-drop into a Chakram Retriever.
Yeah. No, I'm on the same page. It was actually I couldn't find my copy of Eldritch, but I think I would run both. Now I
Mhm.
don't. I agree on the sacrifice. I don't like it at all. But this is where I'm okay with Shang-Chi. Is like they almost are a part of a Shang-Chi package in a sense. Is like
Mhm.
now I can actually tutor something in the battlefield, not worrying about haste because I've either got Shang-Chi or I have a way to get Shang-Chi. Okay, we had the same thing with Thousand Year Elixir, but now I've just got 2 of those, so it's cool.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it's. I think the harder part is this. It does draw more interaction. It feels like because they love to catch you with the sacrifice, right?
yeah, the 2 for 1.
Yeah, the two exactly right. Um, and if they don't know your deck because nobody knows our deck, then you really got to talk your way out of it before it happens to you. So yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, first of all, I love, if I've done the Green Sun Zenith for a Dryad Arbor, I love sacking the Dryad Arbor, and then it's a Copper Horn. Well,
Mhm.
it depends on when and how I'm doing it, but there's some cool, fun options.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this is my battle with the other tutors is the 2 battlefield are more expensive, and I feel like with Alondo's activations, I just throw a Neoform out there for 2, and I'm going to get that
Mhm.
way faster than I'm going to get a Finale of Devastation for 4, or not for 4, but
Yeah.
2 green and 2. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it just comes in and out.
Yeah. The One Ring, I just haven't felt like I've needed it for a long time.
Yeah,
Um,
your deck that would make a lot of sense. I agree.
yeah, like I said, it's one of those that like uh, I'm so tight on mana, and by the time you're drawing, you know, an exciting number of cards with it, your Londo plan should be farther enough along that I would rather just storm off through him as opposed to trying to make something work with the One Ring. Um, I don't know. It's 4 mana is a lot. It's either taking a turn off to cast an Alaundo or taking a turn off to cast a One Ring. If you exile the One Ring to Alondo's ability, you just it tends to be your only source of card draw. It tends to be oh they just exiled the One Ring. Let's hit Alaundo now before it comes down, and you know they're screwed out of luck on both ends.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's also a little dangerous for pilots too. Is as you are working your way through a stack, trying to decide how many like untaps to pump into the One Ring to draw a couple more cards, draw 3, draw 4, draw 5, while also just keeping the ones you need in order to keep your Alaundo, exile cards going. It's not that hard. I mean, but it is just like I've done it before. You run out of, you always want to reserve like one extra untap, right? Almost at all times.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with the One Ring, sometimes you get a little greedy. And
Yeah,
hope, usually your hand's good, but you just gotta be careful.
that is something I've very specifically done with my deck building. Is remove bait cards or
Yeah.
cards that like bait you into unhealthy play patterns. It's one of the reasons I'm not playing Seedborn Muse.
Right,
It's
tap out on turn 3 for 5, and then you have nothing left, and you're right.
yep,
You're out of interaction. You're out of everything. Yep.
yep. It just like I said, just banning yourself into unhealthy play patterns and removing that temptation, I think has actually helped me a lot.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's funny because I think I also suffer from sort of the opposite issue of not knowing when to use interaction, and that's probably something I'm getting over now with more experience. But for example, in amphibious downpour, and just picking the right moment,
mhm.
picking the right targets, kind of thing. Um, anyway, yeah, uh, solve that problem with experience.
Spellseeker, I say Spellseeker's fine. I don't
Yep.
have any objection to Spellseeker being able to convert a creature tutor uh, or just being able to find a mass untap spell or retraction helix, something like that. It breaks perfect sense for the retraction helix surveillance scam combos that you're trying to go for.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. I just don't have enough good targets. Obviously quick reflexes and vitalize are the two of the best cards in the deck, but um, I don't know. Paying spending that many activations on a spell seeker is just generally not something I'm super excited about. I'd rather just have another untapper most of the time.
It does feel bad at that cost, especially when you draw it and you just go, I don't want this. I want
Yeah,
anything but this right now. And then
yeah,
I feel the same way about Mystical Tutor because it's not the card that it could be right now. It could be the whatever. So
yeah,
it's difficult. And then I also, we can't lean too hard into Echo because I'm not going to have Echo near, you know,
yeah,
95% of the time when Spellseeker comes down. It's a nice little idea, but it's not necessarily going to happen, right?
yeah,
I should be focusing on a plan. The mine's not Unctus, but with Spellseeker, yeah, it's to go get a Retraction Helix, and I could live
yeah.
with it.
It makes perfect sense for the thing you're trying to do with that deck. Pemminzor we talked about. Dryad Arbor we kind of talked about. I think the only thing we didn't mention is actually I think you did mention is its ability to go crack a fetch land and trigger intruder alarm. Um, it's
Also, yeah,
pretty
like, and then the
reasonable.
fact that it untaps to Intruder Alarm, which gives you some extra mana, especially
Yep,
if you put like put a Utopia Sprawl on it, you're good. Yep.
yep. As they finally come at flood color, makes perfect sense for what you're trying to do without Unctus. Mobilize, I, I don't have any objection to. It's another mass untap spell. It's a sorcery though. I've just have it's one of those considerations where like I've I want my cards to be good all the time, so those mass untap spells don't do anything from turns 1 to 3 most of the time. So I've limited the total number of them. You're playing it because you're on Kitsa. So like I said, it makes a lot more sense for your kind of deck, but that's not something I'm super interested in.
Yeah. No, and I think if we had, if there was a better untapper in the marketplace, they would get replaced quickly. But I like
Yeah.
for the rate, yeah.
Train Tactics is kind of a similar card to Hidden Strings in a lot of ways. One mana to untap 2 creatures, basically. It doesn't give hexproof, which is what I wish it really did. Just give them both untap 1 blue, untap 2 things, and give them both hexproof would be crazy. But that's not quite what that card does.
Yeah, it's basically just the 1 for 2, right? It's like that rate,
Yeah.
you can't get that rate really anywhere.
Mhm.
So it's tough to deny.
Yep. So Ketsa we've kind of talked about. Questionable renewal we have not yet talked about. Um, I, I don't know. I don't have any issues with the card. It's another one of those cards where uh, I feel that it almost takes up the same kind of philosophy as Shang-Chi, where you're time you spend taking off to cast this in the early turns kind of detracts from your primary game plan. And then by the time you are ready to cast it, it probably is going to be online most of the time. Um, but just like with Seedborn Muse, it kind of tells your opponent, okay, now is the time. Let's eat Alaundo into the sun. Um,
Right. It basically puts a countdown on, okay, well, when your untap comes around, I'm going to get to do my things, which has
mhm,
been the laser, the target that gets put on us with Seedborn.
Yep.
I used to run Murkfiend Liege sometimes, and you get this
Yep.
sort of similar reaction. Even Sting honestly gets the same reaction because it's every combat.
Yep.
That's still 3 Alaundo activations, and so
Yeah.
not to say it's a bad
The
thing, but
rate on it's great, but
right,
it it just tells your opponent that now's the time, and that's something I would rather avoid. It's also a card that basically only functions when Alaundo is active and in play and already doing its thing.
yeah,
That's another part of the thing that I dislike. At least with Chakram Retriever, you know, it's still a mana ritual basically. You can cast a spell, untap an untapper to untap a cradle. Be able to ritual out stuff like that.
right.
Um,
Where quests, right? If you lose your creatures, you're kind of screwed anyway. But yeah,
yeah.
it's part of a part 3 of a 4-part combo. There's,
Yeah.
you just want to stick
Like
with one or two.
if you can get it to come down and stick, you're probably winning that game anyways
Yeah.
because they didn't have a removal spell in the first place. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
Uh, it's a Grim Monolith makes perfect sense for a deck including the One Ring and Hidden Strings and stuff like that. Mirror and Spy in this case. I said we've already talked about Mirror and Spy, but I think
Yeah.
that's all of the differences so far in the deck. Um, were there any other cards you wanted to talk, specifically about?
Um,
In the sideboard, considering stuff like that.
I think it's worth discussing Formidable Speaker just because it's sort of newer. And I
Mhm.
guess for you, how it's gone play pattern wise, like what you're searching for on a regular basis. And then, oh, what I had a question about. I wanted to kind of go through the untappers and just make sure we highlight the fact, we've got they have a hierarchy, and it really just comes down to the fact that Vizier has its cycling ability,
Mhm.
Fate Stitcher has its Unearth. Some of them
Mhm.
don't have anything really special or otherwise, but I don't have to go through all of them necessarily.
Yeah. The Forensic Researcher, Kelpie Guide, and North Pole Patrol are the worst ones in the deck,
Yeah.
in my opinion. Their secondary abilities are largely non-existent. Kelpie Guide being a 2/2 is why I would think I'm of the opinion that it is currently the worst one in the deck. Um,
Yep. Agree with that.
but we just need such a critical mass of them that I think it's worth playing still.
Right. We haven't talked about Illusionist Bracers, which
Hmm.
is, I mean, to me, I guess at this point, it's a staple. I mean, I think I don't know, we've taken it in and out, but I think at this point, here's what I found is like, if it lands, if it doesn't get countered, I know things are clear already, which is crazy. However, it doesn't win you anything at instant speed, and so if the deck is pure instant speed, then this comes out.
Yeah. I think of illusionist bracers as one of our most proactive ways to win the game. Switch, turn one, mana vault, or being able to get down a turn one or two, a Phaedo Alchemist, turn three, Alaundo plus illusionist bracers. You're going to win that game on turn four. It's like I said, it's one of our faster, more concise combos. Requires Alaundo and untapper and bracers, and you can win the game. I'm not super convinced by it still. I think, given the opportunity to replace it with a different kind of combo piece, I'm more than willing to do so. Equip being sorcery speed, it's similar to Pemmin's and Freedom Real. It's saying, hey, now's the time to interact. Do it now. Um,
Yeah, I think there's a world where there's things, going back to the Pilipala or Umbral Mantle, where maybe there's a higher mana value version of this deck where that would work, or maybe Biomancer is familiar to reduce the cost of like the creature ability. And again, then you lean into creature abilities with cost a little bit more. But I think the hardest thing about this is the three cost for equip, and then
mhm.
people responding to that. Happened to me today. I think that goes back to having, if you're gonna run this, you're gonna need to run Magic Damper, right? The hex proof enabling, so you want to have
Yep.
a Legolas quick reflexes in your hand, something that can give it hex proof, so you can still get, you can, they won't be able to bounce it.
Yeah.
You got to be able ready to defend it.
Yep. It's like I said. I think that's one of the reasons I'm excited about rewrite history. Is it's another combo option. Um,
Yeah, It's a big
you
deal.
know,
I mean, that's for our
it's
deck
a big
doing.
deal. Yeah.
Yeah, doing the tap untap is easy. Unctus, the fact that Unctus is even there and was tutorable or is tutorable was
Hmm.
enough to make it powerful. But now to have a second one you can just kind of oops into,
Hmm.
yeah,
That also has additional upside of being able to bring back two other instants or sorceries.
yeah. So you can
Is
just let it.
super reasonable.
You can basically just let the sacrifice happen. Now we could also copy this with Go-Go, but no. um, but you could do that, and then I mean we could get it back with anything, with Eternal Witness, with Noxious
Yeah.
Revival, with right. You're not exiling it when it goes, so you just get it back and do it again.
Yep. Yeah.
I
Basically.
bet we could actually retraction helix it and just just cast it off of Alaundo again.
Well, the problem is if the
Well,
second
it's
one
sacked, isn't
resolves,
it? Yeah, it's
it's
gone.
sacrifices. Yeah, it's just actually gone. So you can just never let the secondary ability resolve.
Let's see. What do you think about the current? Well, okay, so I'm good with. Part of me wants to go on to meta discussion and gameplay, and maybe look at hands if you're okay. You got more time? I hate to.
No,
Um,
I got nothing tonight.
cool. All right, me too. Well, I'm tonight. I'm basically prepping this deck for tomorrow. So, frankly,
Mhm.
I want to come out of this with a new deck if I can. All right, so let me see if there's anything else I want to ask you about. I did eventually go down the road of you know voltaic key, manifold key, one
Mhm.
to untap target artifact. It doesn't work. I'm assuming you tried that at some
Mhm.
point.
It was in the Mirror and Spy version. I've never wanted it in the the main list. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's they just don't untap enough things for us. We don't expend colorless mana from Mana Vault and Grim Monolith and stuff, into a Thrasios the way some of their decks do, but
Right.
it
And,
just
my only other thought was like, well, Unctus can turn them into artifacts, but okay, but at that point, if you've got Unctus, you're
you can
defeating
win the game
yourself
anyway.
anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it's not helpful. It's
Yeah.
not unhelpful, but it's again just that sort of distraction piece.
I think if you get an Unctus to resolve, you're probably winning that game anyways. So
Yeah. Yeah,
not
exactly.
having the extra untap is not gonna help you that much.
Okay. I think I'm good. I don't have any questions. I mean, I guess if there's anything else that's in the sideboard here that's worth, let's see, return card from your graveyard to your hand, Dryad's Revival. I don't just because that's flashback. I'm guessing.
Yeah, it was a card I was considering when I was intuition gifts and given stuff.
Oh, okay. Yep.
It was a card you could include in your piles that you'd never had to get a second uh, uh, recursion piece with gifts ungiven. You could just get that one, and it would be enough most of the time.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
I want to talk to you about counterbalance as someone who is interaction adverse. It's not a card that you actually need to make a whole lot of decisions about oh, do I need to spend my counterspell on this? It's a way you can potentially interact without having to rely on that judgment. It's a card
Yeah.
I've gone in and out of the deck on quite often, but it's I because I am fine playing counterspells. I just find it to be inconsistent. But I think for your play style, it would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. I I've tried it. Same like you said. It comes in and out. Um, maybe one game in a tournament. It's on the battlefield and feels like a lot of the time it gets bounced. But that's kind of the point. Is it's supposed to draw stuff out and politic a little bit. So yeah, I think if I was gonna run something that's too blue like that, I think I'm gonna try out something like maybe Steel Enchantment or Copy Enchantment potentially. Or maybe this is the slot for the Aura of Dominion. Anyway, um,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm with you on that though. I do like that, and I think also the Collector Oof. Depending on the meta,
Mhm.
I don't know. At this point, maybe people are playing around it too well, but I feel like
I it in the games where it's good, it's great, but you just end up getting paired against Rog Thras, and it just
yeah,
feels bad. It just doesn't do what you
exactly.
wish it did. Um, yeah,
Um,
I think my Rog Thras matchup is why I just can't play that card anymore. I tried it for a number of weeks and months. I just it never actually does what I wish it did, which is, give us enough time to really, get our feet underneath us, and, against the decks that don't care about it, it just actively helps them.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's weird. There's sometimes where I just go like, we should just play Vexing Bobble and then just crack it when we're ready. Like, I don't know. There's whatever. Okay, so that's the cards in the deck.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Test hands.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let me pull open the one I'm working on now. So this is for Fringe Fest tomorrow. This is basically a copy of the one from today. I'll probably make some changes as we go, like this Mockingbird. But okay, this is my opening hand. Now I actually don't have any issue with this hand. In a sense, like if this was my second seven, maybe a six, like I'd be okay with it either way. But I have my land, my Birds of Paradise, and my title board, right? So I can do that
Mhm.
whole untap the title board, return the land back to my hand, blah blah blah. I can get Alaundo on turn two, and I've got a Ristic Study in hand. It's not bad. It's a little desperate though. Like I definitely wouldn't. This is
Mhm.
my first seven. I'm gonna go to six.
Yeah, I would not.
Yeah, too risky. Same thing here is like I've ended up with one land and nothing that's worth a turn
Yeah.
one or turn two, so I'm sad.
Yep.
I've got two lands, crop rotation, Ewit. So this is my six. You know, it depends what seat I'm in at this point, probably, and what the rest of the table's like. Maybe I could figure
Yeah.
this out kind of
Uh,
slow and like it'd be fine, but it's not great. I'd rather go to three.
I don't think I trust this hand. It ends up being a turn two forensic researcher if you crop rotation for Ancient Doom,
Yeah.
but I don't think that does enough for you. If Veil of Summer was an actual piece of interaction, or Eternal Witness was an actual, relevant card, maybe, but
Yep.
I don't think.
And then this will work. Uh,
This is a mold of five, right? That's what this
yeah,
is. Yeah, it's a. Is it an ancient? Oh, that's a mana confluence over on the right. I just
yeah.
didn't recognize the art. Yeah, this hand's perfectly fine. I don't see
Okay.
anything wrong with this
This
one.
is a turn one breed. So here, let's just play this out real quick.
Yeah.
So it'll be breeding
Was-
pool, birds here, discard. Actually, I wouldn't do birds, right? I go Curious Follower off these two.
Yeah. Well, if you actually keep this a mold of five, you just bought in
Oh,
the
yeah.
Mox Diamond and stuff. But if we're assuming we keep a seven, it's turn one Kira's follower every time.
So
Especially with a banishing knack
so if it was five, I would have been the Knack and the Vizier.
over the Mox Diamond.
I'm asking. I don't. This is a great question. Like I don't have to do this very often, or I'm not experienced with this. So what would be if we go back to opening hand, right?
Yeah.
Um,
So
I gotta pick five. Yeah.
you got to pick five. So you're almost guaranteed to be keeping Breeding Pool Bird, Hero's Follower, probably the other land. So yeah, at least those four. As a responsible Magic player, I'd probably be keeping Banishing Knack. Um, but
Okay. Yeah, I get. No, that's fair. Um,
especially if you can get down an early Kyor's Follower and be able to target somebody else's Rograk or early creature, saying, "Hey, you leave this open. I can bounce your thing. Use Kyor's Follower, untap it to bounce a second thing." Um, being able to get double use out of the interaction is something that I would probably keep over Vizier of Tumbling Sands. I
yeah.
think keeping Vizier of Tumbling Sands would be greedy in my opinion.
Oh yeah. No, that would be too rich. That's going my way. Yeah. For me, it was banishing Knack. Um, but that's because I want to be greedy and cast Alaundo on turn two. So it would probably again come down to seat orders. Like if I'm seat four, I probably do the greedy thing. If I'm and then depends on the pod composition. But
Yeah. Well, the problem is it's not even a turn to a Londo, even if you keep the Mox Diamond, because you'd have to top deck a land in order to turn to a Londo with this hand.
I've got two lands. Uh,
I know you need another one because you're pitching one of those. So you go land Mox Diamond Kira's Follower. You've only got 3 mana. You still need to top deck another source.
oh, I gotcha. Okay, yep. Maybe that's why I'm thinking that we did. No, we had True Alarm. Okay, yeah. So this is a little bit of a trick then. Is like if I didn't do that, if I don't pick correctly on this, then I'm sort of stuck, and then I'm on a I'll turn four Alondo maybe 2 activations.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Copperhorn. No ramp. No good.
Yeah, not enough.
Gemstones, Ottawara, Mana Confluence. Again, I really need to get, I don't know about you, but like I need to see a source like an Ancient Tomb, a Soul Ring, a Mana Vault, something that gets me 2 mana like kind of early, or I'm really
It's got a
this,
turn 2 Rhystic Study, which like might get you there, but
yeah.
it's not something that I would keep.
The most dangerous of dangerous, right? No green source, but I've got
Yeah.
a turn 1 Mana Vault, and then it's a turn 2, Yorith worst case,
Mm-hmm.
and I gotta hope I draw a source the next 2 now.
It's got no interaction. It's greedy.
It's
I
really,
just
really bad. Yeah, and it's got
yeah
Thoracle like for no reason. It's got
yeah.
your, all expensive. I mean, even Seeker. I would maybe keep if Seeker was here and I had Legolas quick reflexes, like we'd be good to go. Well, I still don't have a source for it, but like it's closer. Oh,
It's another mold of 5. You keep the 2 lands, Wild Growth, Lotus Petal, and probably Illusionist Bracers at that point.
right. Bury the Chakram and it's your Ewit.
Yeah.
It would be like here, land, Tropical Island. I'm gonna keep this keep this
Yeah,
here.
you keep the Lotus Petal and
I
just
could, depending
turn
on
2 in
where
Alaundo.
there. Alaundo.
Or you could do the One Ring. It's kind of up to you. At that point, it's actually super reasonable to do the One Ring on a mold of 5 at this point. You've got the Manamo, so I think because you have the bracers, I would do an Alaundo instead of the One Ring. If the bracers was something else, I would have done the One Ring.
Yeah. Okay, I got what you're saying. Yeah. Um, and then
Hmm.
let me ask you a quick question here, just as far as Alaundo activations. I uh, I have tried my best to sort of tend towards take a Alaundo activation kind of as early as you can. Get the extra card, see the extra card, and then make your decisions. Don't plan anything or plan too much around what's already in your hand. Yeah, you know what you got, but generally just activate Alaundo and take a look at a card first. Is that how do you look at it?
So unless I know I'm putting a win attempt or I'm looking for something specific, like I'm trying to hit a land drop or something like that, I save my Alaundo activations, especially if I have more than one. If I only have an Alaundo activation, I don't have any untappers or anything, I'll probably just bane phase it. If I have more than one Alaundo activation, I'll basically always wait until an end step or something like that, and just save it.
How do you balance that now with the copper horn strategy? Like, is it easy to keep the two separated and you don't have to worry, or does copper horn pull you into having to do it on your turn?
I see Copperhorn as I don't think of it as like I think of it as a vitalize on your turn. So if vitalize is good in that situation, I'm more than willing to just get it out and fire it off.
Right, the rate is good
Um,
enough, and it's will. Yeah, the rate is good enough for that many untaps to wait your turn and do it in your turn anyway.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's a little different for me because I'm playing a fair amount of interaction, so I can just kind of sit back, play the tempo game, cast my spells at instant speed, make sure they can trip when Alaundo activations, all that good stuff.
right. Okay, so let's say we play Tide Channel for land for turn, and you're saying then at that point you pass,
Yeah,
or do you
especially
play the One Ring proactively for protection and no, right? You just wait because
no.
you get
I
too
I
early.
think I sit on the One Ring. Um, I'm certainly not exiling it to Alaundo. Like I said, it really is just asking to get Alaundo removed so they can prevent your One Ring and just like shut off all of your card draw.
Yeah,
I think here I'm just activating Alaundo, exiling the bracers, Manamo Alaundo, and exiling whatever else I find.
yeah. Draw Mystic. Change your math at all here? Or do you still go Bruce Bracers?
It kind of depends on the pod for that
Yeah,
one.
and the time, like a timing
If
of this.
if I'm expecting anybody to be pushing anytime soon, I'm exiling the Remora first. Like if I think I'm going to get a couple of triggers off of it, if I think it's unlikely that it's going to draw me more than 2 cards, uh, by the time it comes back around, I'm exiling this bracers first.
Yeah. I mean, this is not. I mean, yeah, like you said, this is the end step of the player right before you. Anyway, nobody's
Yep.
casting anything at this point, so this is no value of you get doing this. Like you're gonna get this off of one Alaundo activation, which sucks actually that you have to do it too. But you have Manamo, so you're gonna get 3. So we go 1 Alaundo activate. Now this is unfortunate, right? I have to decide. It could be the Remora, which is fine. I want to pay for my upkeep. I'll still get a free cast in my next turn. Not a bad
Yeah.
value one, and nobody's gonna counter this. Or maybe they will, but at least they'll counter that instead of the illusionist bracers.
Yeah, I would be exiling the Remora only because, you can stack your triggers, let the Remora resolve, and then, cast your bracers. And if they decide to take a fight about it, you can draw cards in the process.
Yeah. Let me get rid of make these generic. This is just how I play normally, just for people that, as far as gold fishing goes, I use Architect, and this is how I keep track of like everybody with these counters. Okay, so then I get an untap, upkeep, draw for turn. I've got this. This doesn't exist anymore in my deck. Now, is there anything else I can do? I want to do now. Okay, here's another question. Just timing of playing lands. You know, the only time I care about it is if I haven't played Banamo yet. I usually want to hold
Mhm.
on and just hold up for that a minute just to see if I get something anywhere. Maybe for Guy's Cradle, maybe for Dryad Arbor for Intruder Alarm activation, like
Yeah.
ETB. So for me, playing the land is not first thing I do necessarily, but sometimes it does mean I run out of resources if I'm going up on the stack. So you gotta be super careful about, okay, is this the
Mhm.
moment we're all about to go up on the stack and I need to have this land out here anyway?
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. So then we go draw Alaundo. Okay, so I've got a flesh duplicate, One Ring, Mockingbird. Well, my flesh duplicate can't copy anything at this point, so it's probably the One Ring.
Yeah,
Um,
if we're working under the assumption that this Mr. Gamora is going to resolve, I'm fine just pitching the One Ring to it,
yeah.
because you're not, choked on card draw at that anymore. Um, with the fish in play.
We go here. We go here. And I guess for anybody watching the video, like first you have the Alaundo triggers, so that these both had their last time counter removed at the same time, which means there were 2 of these when the last time counter triggers that went on the stack. I own both triggers. I put them on the stack in the order I want to. They're not cast. Now I go to the first one. There's a round of priority. Everyone can react or respond to it, which is actually one of the harder parts about our deck. Is like if people know that, or if people realize that, or if they do it to you, like you gotta have. This is why you want to keep the extra untap available. Is like if someone's starting to do something, you can start digging again if you have to.
Mhm.
So then, then you decide, yep, okay, I'm going to cast the Illusionist Bracers, cast Round of Priority, blah blah blah, Mystic Remora. In that case, Mystic Remora probably should have gone first, just in case
Yeah.
there was a fight over the Bracers.
Yep.
Assuming Bracers resolves, this is where I now need to play my third. Mana Source, and unfortunately, it's going to have to be the Beseiju because I need to use the 1, 2, 3 here. I'll keep the blue for Manamo and equip the Bracers, and then use
Hmm.
Manamo to untap. And now I've got 2 activations, which might not be enough, but let's see. It's very unfortunately like this is not going to get us very far.
No.
Flesh Duplicate 3, and then second one Kitsa. Nope. So not the worst position to be in on turn 3.
Yeah. Like
Or
I
no,
said,
turn 4.
if you've got a bunch of free counter spells, this fish is gonna get fed a little bit.
So
You can actually, put up a fight still.
yeah, I think it's some. All we wanted was an intruder alarm. Next couple cards, freed from the real command tower, some lands, and Marvin.
Yeah.
Um,
Like I said, and this is one of those situations where like I honestly would probably just equip the bracers and not activate just yet.
yeah. Oh right.
Like I
No,
said,
that would
if I was digging for counter spells at any point.
absolutely cool. Let's maybe I don't know how to do this with Moxfield necessarily. But let's just give it a shot. I'll go to your deck real quick.
Yeah.
Um, all I have to search. It's so funny. Like just so you like. Whenever I'm like on the road or whatever, I just Google like Carnival Stand Alaundo. It just always comes up wherever I am.
If you scroll up, playtest, yep, there.
Discard. Is there a way to see this better or to make the opening hand
Make it
more
bigger.
obvious?
I think I think where it says 100% up there, you might be able to increase the zoom.
Let's do this. Yes.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Maybe a little less. Not so bad.
That might be too much. That's probably fine.
All right, cool. Okay, so we have Chakram, Thassa, an offer, City.
That,
Okay, so
that hits bad.
yeah, agree. Second 7.
Hand's also kind of bad.
Yeah. Uh,
Go to 6.
6. Beautiful.
I don't know about beautiful. We don't have any green mana.
Yeah, exactly. If we had a forest.
Yeah, I don't think I trust this hand enough.
Right, because you'd actually have to keep the cures to pitch to the forces. Okay, yeah, agree.
So we just don't have green mana. Nah, we're going to 5. I'm not keeping this. Yeah. Yeah, this is probably okay.
Yeah, we have to at that point. Yep.
We gotta give spirit to our opponents, which kind of sucks, but is what it is. It's a functional hand. It at least does that.
Yep.
I'm probably binning the Arbor Elf at minimum. Let's say between Fluster and LQR.
These.
Yeah, at least keeping those 3, and then kind of depends on the pod. I think
it's not.
I think I'm.
It's bottom of yeah. So as long as it's going back in the library, I think Chakram's okay because you're not.
I actually think I'm keeping Chakram with this hand.
Yeah.
I think I'm choosing between LQR and Flusterstorm. Only because Vizier untaps your Mana Vault and like actually lets you cast Chakram on what is this? It would be turn 3 Alaundo, turn 4 Chakram, and then you can, theoretically try and go off a little bit.
Yeah. Well, let's just try with OQR. Let's go. Let's go to the library. I use this thing, and then I shuffle this. Cool. And put this shit back in our hands. Draw. Do I have to do like next turn or anything like that, or just? Oh yeah, there it is. Next turn. Cool. All right. We got Loki. Love it. All right, so we go Forbidden Orchard, Mana Vault.
Yep. So that's our turn 1. It's next turn.
Next turn. Oh, we got lucky.
You found a second land?
Let's
Yeah.
go.
I'm probably just casting Alaundo turn 2, yeah.
Right. Leave the 1 floating or good, and then beautiful.
Right on top.
Now.
Our Mana Vault's tapped. Yeah.
Vizier. Where do you want to act? So this is where I would, for me, I go, okay, I'm gonna activate Alaundo because there's no reason not to. But you're saying you would hold on to that, do the Vizier, get to the Chakram, and then leave it up.
In this specific case, I would be looking to hit my land drop. So right now our Mana Vault's tapped, right? So we can just double click on that. It'll be tabbed.
Long.
Yeah, just tap it.
Cool.
Because we're just trying to hit a land drop with this hand, I would be tempted to just main phase an activation, hit a land drop, and then leave up Legolas's quick reflexes plus cycle Vizier of Tumbling Sands. Is how I think about this one.
Right, like hoping that you get a land off of this activation.
Yeah.
So we activate, draw a card, dramatic reversal.
Yeah.
We can cast that, but we get our commander, we get the Mana Vault, and then we have no color left.
Yeah, it doesn't really do anything for us. I'm still probably exiling it to Alaundo's ability.
Dramatic?
Yeah.
Yeah. Shoot. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. And then, like I said, because we still haven't hit our land drop, I'm probably cycling this Vizier of Tumbling Sands and untapping Alaundo. Yeah. And then if we can do it that way.
Cycle, untap.
Okay, cycle, untap.
Draw a card.
Draw a card. Still haven't hit a land drop. Activate again.
Force will.
Yeah. probably just exiling this Wirewood symbiote
Yeah.
and then just leaving Fierce Evasion and Force of Will plus pitch either Loki or Chakram. And I think with the current cards we have in exile, I'd be pitching this Loki, especially because we don't have any untappers that would trigger the Loki. Say both of those end up being at one time counter. But you're almost guaranteed to not lose the game because of double counter spell. So
Right. I mean,
it's
this
kind
is
of
gonna
funny.
you're gonna get another turn now,
Yeah,
guaranteed. So let's assume. So this is what I don't know how you play normally, but like I'll just be like, okay, let's assume I had to do that. Or is it exile?
yeah, yeah.
But let's say I did survive. Sometimes I'd even take the second one, but let's just do that. And then I'll go into my next turn. This is still tapped.
We finally hit our land
We got
drop.
land drop. Play now. Is there any reason I wouldn't play it right now?
We've already got our Forbidden Orchard in play. The only other one would be like Manamo. But in this specific case, what I'm probably doing is, so we don't have any way of casting Chakram before casting Dramatic Reversal. So what I'm probably doing is just activating now. Um, I think I'm just activating Alaundo, and then before doing the lands.
Draw card. We got North Pole Patrol, which I would probably.
That's probably what I'm exiling. Yeah.
Usually.
And then we can cast Wirewood and Dramatic Reversal, which untaps our Mana Vault, which gives us enough mana to cast Chakram Retriever.
I'm trying to think, is there anything important here about the order? No, right? Like we're not.
No, not really.
So we untap here, we untap here. This is in our graveyard. Activate Alaundo. Draw a card.
Before I activate Alaundo, I think I'm putting this Chakram Retriever down only in case we need to Fierce Guardianship something. In which case Chakram would trigger an intruder alarm. Or Fierce Guardian would trigger Chakram. Sorry. So yeah, casting the Chakram and then activating.
Cool.
Actually, I'm probably playing a land then activating, so that way I can leave up the quick reflexes.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. That would be critical right there. Would be to have Okay, so yeah, command tower. We just drew the Seeker, which I would say is what we exile.
Yep, that's what we're exiling. Now both of those are at 2. Cool. And funnily enough, LQR plus Chakram trigger ends up being 2. So we'll be able to cast both of these this turn. And like I said, Chakram just kind of letting us storm off a little bit. Yeah. So
we go green, we cast LQR, cast trigger, we Chakram, untap Alaundo, and then Legolas. Hold on, let me ask you that. How do we respond to the Legolas cast here if we're not allowed to respond to Split Second?
We really don't. we kind of just don't.
But we just get one untap then, don't we?
We actually do just get one on tap because of the Split Second.
That sucks. Okay. But at least we get to do the damage. That's kind of the whole key of this anyway, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sad face. All right, but we get the 1, so hopefully it's something good, and then maybe we even get the Fierce, from someone if they mess around.
Yep.
Oh, pardon me. Okay.
Bless you.
Jeez. Sorry about that. Swan Song, not great.
Not at the moment.
And now we're down to 1 on Seeker and North Pole, and we pass. But hey, we've got
a Fierce.
We just have Fierce. Yep.
Yeah.
Now, when we get Fierce, let's say if that happened mid-turn on the stack, we'd have a Chakram Retriever trigger, and we could technically get these next 2. So we could try to do I would, we don't have to do it right now, but like for me, that's the exercise usually. All right, let's start digging, in response.
Well, the problem with Chakram is it only triggers on your own turn.
Oh, that's right. So sad. Okay, well, that's why this should be a dampening octopus
magic damper, a magic damper that we can't cast.
Shore up, yeah. Oh man. All right. Let's go and try again. Wow.
Yeah, it was a mold of 5. It kind of got a little awkward, missing land drop and stuff like that. But
this is beautiful. No, I mean it's not bad. I mean, for me, anything with Soul Ring and 2 lands always feels good.
Yeah, this hand's perfectly reasonable, and like I said, and this is one of the reasons where I like having the X spells, plus interactive creatures to go find off of our stuff. So being spell skite if it's relevant, or volatile storm drake. Like I said, it was one of the reasons I was trying to make collector oof work. But like on the off chance that you do need to you know live a turn, having a collector come down can get you there sometimes.
Yep. No, absolutely. The turn 1, we'll go fetch for a drop, Soul Ring.
Yep.
Next turn, Flusterstorm. We could go Manamo, Alaundo.
Yep. And then turn 3, we can kind of do some crazy.
Start. I don't know what we can do actually. Let's start with Alaundo. Draw Mana Vault. Kelpie Guide would be my default here.
Yeah, mine too.
And then blue for the Manamo. Alaundo, draw card.
I think in this case, I'm probably not doing blue for Manamo. Not yet, at least. I think I'm just kind of accepting that we've got, one Alaundo activation this turn, but I'm just deploying like a bunch of our mana sitting in hand. So probably I think I'd probably be casting this Badger Mole Cub and Utopia Sprawl, and then something like that.
Okay. This is turn 3, right? So we play land. You're saying so.
Mm-hmm.
Rejuvenating Springs for green. Utopia Sprawl on the Flooded Strand. Naming blue.
Mm-hmm. And then
tap it. I need green, right? So I tap it for green. Oh, I don't want to do this right now though. Yeah, tap it for green and blue. Use the blue for the Mana Vault. Use the green and a colorless from Soul Ring for Badger Mole.
You said probably Earthbend our Utopia Sprawled land.
Yeah.
You could do Manamo, but I don't know that I would.
I'm dying to make Manamo legendary so I can Yorith it, but that's my only reason for that. So I agree with that. So we got a creature here that will now tap for 3.
Yeah.
2 blue.
And then we've got Mana Vault plus Manamo, so we can just cast a Fade Stitcher.
Yeah.
Assuming we don't want to hold up a Flusterstorm, which this is turn 3, so we might. But we untap on turn 4 and we can kind of go crazy.
Yeah, I see no issue with this right now. That's exactly what we should do. Yep. Next turn. Mana Vault's still tapped, and we now we Nature's Rhythm first for something. What would it be? I don't think there's any reason to. I mean, Shotgun Retriever, so 7, but we're not doing that. We could untap the Mana Vault with the Face Stitcher if we wanted to, and get our 7. Technically, I mean, we could use it. Is it worth actually getting something like that right now?
I mean,
maybe. It's a big commitment.
Yeah, it's one of those awkward ones. This might be a situation where I would go find Formidable Speaker or something like that.
Well, yeah. Go get Formidable, grab Marvin, and then get enough activations to get both Yorith and Marvin out.
Either that or just be responsible and go get Endurance or Subtlety, probably Endurance.
Yeah.
And just make sure you're not gonna die. You know what I mean? Because if we untap, we already have 1, 2, 3 activations plus Kelpie Guide was 4, and then Earth also is 5.
Yeah.
So as long as we don't die, we're gonna be golden in this game basically.
Yep. Well, here, let's just do a couple of them real quick. Oh, that's awesome. We're just gonna top deck Marvin. Okay. No.
This is why you don't tutor for Marvin Earth. You just draw it naturally.
Wow. Okay. So now these are both at 2, and then we're gonna do the Fate Stitcher one and draw a card, and it'll be Yorith. Those will be at 1 each, and then we'll go for our Manamo, and we get a land. And oof. I hate to say it's gonna be the Nature's Rhythm because it'll be in my graveyard, but I'll be okay. I survive. That'll have.
Probably just pitching this Botanical Sanctum.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, right. Because we're not really going to worry about mana now. We've got the three. We got the one land that taps for 3 still.
Mm-hmm.
We can exile this instead. And now I'm going to cast. Let's see. First, I'm going to cast the Kelpie so that I've got the extra untap available now, and then I'm going to cast Marvin without having activated, so that I've got the Kelpie right to sort of respond if I have to. Because at this point, I have my colors and I've got a Flusterstorm, so I can do some stuff if I have to. Assuming they don't counter that, we start off again. We just do an Alaundo, draw a card. Yeah, we'll probably crop rotation for
Either Cradle or
just Cradle, right?
Cradle, or in my deck, could be Shifting Woodland probably.
Yeah, gotcha. And then we'll Kelpie draw. Yeah, we can do the elves. Let's assume we sack the Rejuvenating. We go get. Let's assume, because in this situation where there's no graveyard, we would go get. Would you still go Shifting because of the Unctus lines in yours though?
Yeah, I would probably go get Shifting. There's an argument for Forbidden Orchard, but like we already have a combo assembled. We don't necessarily need Forbidden Orchard to assemble a second one. And my thought is by getting Forbidden Orchard, we have a land. We're about to have an instant. We've got a Lotus Petal as an artifact. And then if any one of our creatures dies at any point, we'll have Delirium. So we can, reanimate one of our pieces that got interacted with, probably Marvin.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. So we get Shifting Woodland. This is at 1. Yorith is coming off.
Coming off, I think.
Yep. We cast Yorith. She gets countered. And then we do our thing. We then tap both, and we're off to the races.
Yep.
Cool. One more, and then
one more.
maybe we talk some politics if you got some more time.
Yeah.
Let's do restart here. All right, we got no lands, so it is no good. Next. There we go. Soul Ring. Okay. Once again, no land. No good. Talk to me a little bit about an offer you can't refuse. Is it an opening hand helps you keep sort of thing for you, or is it like how often is it mana versus it actually being a counter?
It's pretty often just a counter.
Yeah.
Hitting any non-creature spells just important enough for me. If I was going to cut a counter spell, it would be that one first, but I think hitting any counter spell is important enough.
Yeah. I think about like some of the X spells if they came off. Let's say I had the Dryad Arbor already. Like, okay, I've got a perfectly good counterable spell. I can still get mana. In the artifact version of the deck, it makes more sense because I can help towards Mopal, theoretically. Okay, anyway, let's see. Next one. Ancient Tomb, Forbidden Orchard. We got a Mox. Yeah, this is pretty good. We would be down to 5. So
Gonna turn 1 Fairy Mastermind, turn 2 Alaundo. Seems fine.
Would you do like that? No. Pitch the Mac. Pitch the Mox. No, you need the Mox.
What hand size? I think we're keeping the Mox.
Yeah, I think we're down to 5.
I think I'm buying a Wirewood and a big Force Vigor probably. Did you turn 1 land, Mox Diamond? Pitch 1 of the lands, Fairy Mastermind, turn 2 Ancient Tomb.
Right, this is lands. Yeah, perfect. That's actually pretty straightforward. So let's go. Library, shuffle, and next turn the volatile. So which land? So you're gonna keep the Forbidden Orchard, so you have it. But does that mean you? I'm wondering, like, you keep it off the battlefield, so you don't have to give out the body for now. You go Ancient Tomb, Mox Diamond, pitch the Yavimaya.
I think in this case, I'm actually just pitching the Forbidden Orchard.
Just ignore it. Just don't worry about the intruder. We got other bodies we can use.
Yeah, like Intruder Alarm is good enough that we have 33 creatures for a reason. I don't need Forbidden Orchard for me to like go infinite enough. You know what I mean?
I got you. Yep. All right, and then Fairy Mastermind will hold back, flash it in. Is there a chance you'd wait if someone played something crazy and Well, it wouldn't matter. You still have the mana, so you'd still flash it no matter what. So we flash it in whenever we get a chance. Yeah.
I mean, if we're later in seed order and someone like turn one's an Esper Sentinel, I'm definitely volatile stormdrecking that Esper Sentinel.
Yeah, for sure. Next turn, Yavimaya Coast, Alaundo.
Mm-hmm.
Next turn. So is this like you hard cast the forensic and then pass?
Yep.
I mean, we
That's exactly what I'm
probably
doing.
could have drawn a couple cards off of Fairy, but let's just
Yeah.
say we didn't. But so we hard cast this. We leave up the Yavimaya. We wait until our end step or next, second to last player before us. Draw a card. It's a Fate Stitcher. We will. We're gonna probably exile that.
Yeah.
Because next turn I'm gonna get the
exile
2 plus the dramatic, so I'm definitely gonna get it off get it out. All right, then we go to next turn. Marvin, beautiful. I'm going to draw. I'm gonna exile that Marvin. Fate Stitcher's down to 3. We'll do forensic. I'm gonna draw. It's gonna be the Kelpie. We're good. Then I'm gonna go 1 here and the Ancient Tomb floating 1. Dramatic reversal. Untap. 1 more.
Watch Diamond 2.
Draw. Yep. Rapid and volatile. So now it'll probably be the volatile, assuming there's a decent target. Was Marvin?
Even if there's not, probably.
Yeah. Marvin, Fate, and then Kelpie's still out here. And then, I mean, we don't have to play this out at this point. To me, this should be. We just have to dig 3 cards deep to find something that'll help us. Oh, maybe not. That didn't work out so well. We would have gotten the Kelpie, so we got 1 more. And the North Pole Patrol would be on 2.
Make 2?
Yeah. We would have cast the Helix or the Rapid by now. And we get 1 more maybe, so Soul Ring. Okay. Not great.
Yeah. But this is why we're sitting on it for an end step, so we can just untap and do it again.
Exactly. Cool. What else? Yeah. So politics wise and tournament wise, I think that here's what I've learned. First of all, you should always assume that someone at the table is going to need an explanation about how it works. You need to learn. Unfortunately, you need to learn how to explain how Alaundo works. In particular, very specifically, that fact about the whenever trigger or the when trigger being on the card that's in exile. So that card gaining that text. You have to go talk to a judge first. Make sure that they understand that. You should always walk through the scenario of 2 cards coming off of their last time counter at the same time and explaining, that those are yours to control and you get to stack them and they're not a cast. I think the one of the easiest ways to, I don't know, it's just like a rule of thumb is like it's not a tally. Like you just start with that as the argument, and that starts to get people thinking a little bit. Politically, otherwise, I think the other thing is that first of all, I found it's pretty successful. Like have a couple extra copies of Alaundo right there. Make a joke about the fact that it's not Kinnan. Other than that, yeah, I don't know. There's not much else. You gotta hope the person's not an asshole who's asking about your triggers constantly. That's basically what it comes down to. Yeah. And I think that maybe that's the other thing is like always be willing to call a judge. In fact, you're better off every single time just because they're going to get frustrated. Here's what's going to come down to is that they're going to see there's something super valuable and they're going to want to mind break trap it. That's all this is that they think you've got 3 things on the stack and that you've cast your 3rd spell or whatever, and they want to mind break trap it. And it's like, no, that's not what's happening. So yeah. What other tips do you have for tournament play in particular?
Be organized. Have your have a real playmat. Have your space organized in a way it makes logical sense. You don't have to use dice is something that I do sometimes. Basically, what I'll do is I'll have I'll relegate sections of my playmat on the top corner to cards in this pile have one time counter, cards in this pile have two, cards in this pile have three.
Yep.
I still do I kind of do both sometimes.
Yeah, I find the same thing of like sometimes it depends on the table that I've got or
Mhm.
people's visibility to my play. But like yeah, you can basically like line your play mat with one, two, three, four, and slide the cards along if you want to instead of having to
Mhm.
take every single die and rotate them. Um,
Mhm.
and then I would say that that's probably best early game. And
Mhm.
then later on, when everyone just wants you to finish your turn, and I mean that in the best way possible, where like you're storming off and they know it, that's when you can
Mhm.
go faster. You just
Yeah.
and you might even get a volunteer at the table who's willing to take care of your time counters for you,
Yep.
depending on how bad it is. I think the one thing that's worth, at least in the Kitsa version, you don't have to play every single Alaundo card. I think that's one of the things that players get tricked into is like it's okay to leave them at that triggered state and just have them
Mhm.
waiting there and just keep going. Just keep digging through your deck because guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna go find Thoracle, you're gonna cast it, put it on the battlefield, and now everything you need, if you need anything, is on the stack underneath you waiting for you. Right? Like
Mhm.
it's a beautiful thing sometimes. So yeah, it helps also just sort of speed up the end game with people.
Yep. Um, like I said, be organized, be respectful to your opponents.
Announce your
I
triggers.
have a yeah, announce your triggers. I have a stack of extra Alondos to represent Alondo activations on the stack. Um,
Same.
I have some basic lands that I use to represent how much mana I have floating.
What do you
Um,
what do you use for representing the intruder alarm triggers? Do you do something special for that?
Not really. I have some
Infinite token.
invisit token, yeah, infinite tokens, whatever you want to call them. Um, that I tend to use for those. Um, there's something that was specifically I was going to mention. Mhm.
I will say that one thing that I think is important with this deck is remembering you can respond to the Ristic triggers, the Esper triggers, the Mystic triggers. You can bury
Mhm.
those too. So if you've got infinite taps and you're just again, like I said, you're playing out every card in your deck until you get to Thoracle, just trap it all
Mhm.
on the stack. There's no reason for you to let that resolve and get your next card because you don't care. You're just going to activate the
Mhm.
Londo again.
Oh, that was the other thing I was going to mention. Very specifically, your creatures only gain haste until end of turn.
Mm-hmm.
Differentiating what creatures are just plainly not summoning sick and versus which creatures came in off of Alando activations this turn and will therefore then be summoning sick next turn, I think is a good distinction as well.
Yep, absolutely. Man, so here's a good question. This is where I go like this is the version with all the mana in it. Now I get to do mana vault into Grim Monolith into Arcane Signet into One Ring. What is this? What is this? Oh, this hand. Um, what are your thoughts on Sting? I will say I have at times liked it, especially because it does give haste, but it
Mhm.
costs two. It costs two to equip. Um, it kind of falls in the same vein as Illusionist Bracers, obviously, in that sort of haste thing. But I, I hate to say it again and again, but like it's just Magic Damper Shore Up instead because that's the reason I'm using it is giving it haste because I screwed up and lost Alaundo at some point, or I'm
Mhm.
just trying to get going again.
I say Sting's a little bit better than that because it does represent four activations a turn cycle.
True.
But like I equipment, I just can't really get behind in a deck that operates so much at instant speed.
Yep. Yep. Totally get it. Let's see.
So I'm barely on bracers as it is.
Yeah. So again, this is the let me go back to a different version. The artifacts version is not so much fun. I'm sure you haven't seen how many Alondo decks I have brewed in here, but I just have deck after deck after deck, different versions.
Mhm.
This I'm working on now is the Oops All Spells sort of version of it. All the untapper one-off pieces. But again, no interaction. So what I need to do is build a version for tomorrow. So I'm back over in Moxfield. Let's go here. And my deck for tomorrow, I'll use this one. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what? No, I had it over here. 719. This is the one. Back to the deck. Okay. So I started throwing stuff into the sideboard that I think from today's experience and generally from wanting to move it back to where it should be, I've put them in the sideboard. So anything that has the green corner was in the deck and is in the sideboard now, and then I put some stuff in the sideboard that I think I need to put into the deck. But quickly, let's just scan through and question anything that's in here that really should kind of come out. I'm okay. I'd like to challenge the Emerald Charm, put that in the sideboard, and see if we can find a better. Again, do the Magic Damper thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy with the rest of those. Wirewood Vizier, good. So I guess the question is, should I convert this over to an Unctus version? I would like to, honestly. I'd like to give it a shot.
Yep.
And see if it'll do the thing. So I'll keep Thoracle, and I got Unctus down here. Put that in. Mockingbird can come out now because I'm an asshole. Yep. And it's so hard for me. I really liked your point about the density of the mass untappers, but I love them so much. I'm gonna have a hard time with mobilize. But I need to be more responsible. So both that and the hidden strings, let's do that, and then maybe also the Triton tactics.
Yeah, probably. Is it the mass untap spells? When they're good, they're great. When they're not good, they do nothing.
Right. So then we grab Shore Up, Octopus Form, and Magic Damper, and we've kind of now fortified the deck a bit and still kept the untaps, and in more instant speed. So now that I don't care about searching for Retraction Helix, I can take out Spellseeker.
Mm-hmm.
Is that gonna cripple me anywhere else? Here, let's go One Ring off the side. I'm gonna leave in Kitsa and all that, and I'll officially take out the worst untapper. Okay. Unctus go in. So interaction package.
Mm-hmm.
I've always kept Mindbreak Trap and Fierce Guardianship, and I know a lot of other things are actually protection, obviously, but as far as like the free suite of blue interaction, considering Pact of Negation, Force of Will, Force of Negation, what's the order of operations here?
I think number one is Pact of Negation, Force of Will. Pact of Negation is almost mandatory because of when you're looting through Unctus, having a counterspell that you don't have to spend mana on is supremely important.
Why the Force of Will went away?
I think it's right up there at the top.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Okay. You've got it in there twice.
All right,
that's what happened.
Delete that one. There we go. Okay. Force of Will. Pact of Negation. What about Force of Vigor? Sorry, go ahead.
I like Force of Vigor personally. Like I said, it's an answer to Curse Totem. It's an answer to Unworld Breach sometimes. Kid and Basalt, but there are a lot of artifacts and enchantments that we care about. Being able to Wirewood Symbiote a dork back to hand to give you a green card that you can pitch to it is pretty handy sometimes.
That's pretty slick. I didn't think that's a good one. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So you can apply the same thing to Endurance as well.
Yeah, you know what? I think endurance has to just go in as basically a, I don't want to say a staple, but I mean, honestly, I think every time. Wait, did I just put the wrong one in?
I think you got it.
Did I? No.
I don't see it in the E's, so I guess maybe not.
Oh, it moved into my sideboard. Okay. I hit A and it doesn't do the right thing. Okay. Anyway, let's do A. For some reason, it's going over here. Okay. So, Heartwood Storyteller, huh?
I think if you're playing Unctus, you also need to have Finale of Devastation. Specifically, like I said, specifically because if you have an abundance of green mana but not enough blue mana, um, being able to reanimate the Thoracle instead of hard casting it is
Right. You can also yes from graveyard for Finale.
mhm.
Flusterstorm, Force of Negation.
I like both of those
Okay.
quite a lot. Storm especially. You could probably get away with not playing Force of Negation if you wanted to. Uh,
Mental Misstep.
yeah, I think Mental Misstep is very good.
Stapley. Like at this point, I feel silly to not have it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, then I think the right thing is to then also throw in the Fluster. And I think the Force of Vigor.
Yeah.
Now,
I think being respectful of Curse Totem.
So, I'm sorry.
Is it just being respectful of Curse Totem?
Yeah. Um, what was I just asking about? Oh, Worldly Tutor, Sylvan Tutor, Mystical
I've
Tutor.
Yeah, I've never been displeased with Sylvan Tutor, even if it is a sorcery.
So, what are we searching for? I get it. We're searching. We know we're going to get Unctus. Like this, I gotta get over it. Like that's the whole point, dude. Go get Unctus. So, talk about Spellskite. Um, I've seen it come in and out of your deck, but like, is it that valuable that like it's not about the fact that you can use it? It's about the fact that they know they have to get through it first in order to use it.
That's a big part of it, yeah. And the fact that you can use it more than once on a stack battle. Say if somebody has two interactive spells, they have to get through. They have to fully let that one resolve before they can get through Spellskite. Um,
So, in particular, which interaction pieces like into the Floodmaw, they target Alaundo. I change it to Spellskite.
mhm.
They
Have a swords.
respond right, like they do
Yeah,
something else. Okay, but the Spellskite's still on the battlefield. I just paid 2 more life, and I
yeah.
put that at this now as again. So it's sort of like a magnet. I can keep everything away from Alaundo on one stack interaction.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Interesting. Okay.
Another consideration for that slot is what's it called? Lost in the
The
Maze.
I thought you were the hermit, the malevolent hermit.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. I'd say
Yeah.
Lost
Well,
Lost in the Maze is a pretty reasonable consideration for that kind of slot.
yeah, you add that in your sideboard, I think, and it's an
Mm-hmm.
X spell though too, right?
It is an X spell. The X spell doesn't matter. It's not why you would play the card. It's
Gotcha.
over on the left side. Yeah,
Tap creatures you control have hexproof. Okay.
yeah.
Oof. So not bad.
I say whether you play that or Magic Damper or Spellskite, like I feel like those kinds of slots are pretty interchangeable.
Is there a fourth Magic Damper Shore Up Octopus Form card? I'm
It
trying to
might be.
there might be. It might be not Vault Skyward. I always want to play Cerulean Wisps. Just replaces itself, gives you 1 for the extra untap. Like, so hard. And then, have you ever messed around with Chain Stasis?
I've messed around with chain stasis. There's just no permanence. There's no creatures that really produce
Enough.
2 and a blue
Yeah.
and 1. So it ends up being you know meaning it to produce 4 mana.
I found it to be like a really like last ditch, effort. Okay, I got nothing else left. I can mass pay for 2 more untaps. But even better though is like at least it works in the same way that like Chain of Vapor does. Like you do the tap or untap, and then the whatever part goes on the stack, and now you can try to do
Mhm.
your Alaundo stuff underneath it, and maybe you get to something, and this is waiting for you at the bottom with an option. Um, not the worst, not the worst, but not
Is I think it's just worse than playing another Magic Damper effect.
yeah,
But, um,
but yeah. Especially you're never gonna, very rarely gonna have that. Um,
mhm.
let's see. French's Go-Go. Well, here, let's be more targeted about this. Nature's Rhythm is not in my deck. I think it has to be, yeah?
It doesn't have to be. I'm a fan, but it doesn't have to be by any means.
Okay. I mean, I keep pulling it out. I think that the finale, Search in the Graveyard, makes a lot of sense to me.
Hmm.
Green Suns as a ramp in my opening hand, worst case, is why I'm cool with that.
Yeah, like I said, Nature's Rhythm I think is the least mandatory of all of them.
Yeah. um, cool. When you're doing the Unctus assembling, essentially, are you mulliganing for one of the infinite untappers? Like, what's your opening hand goal with Unctus? To have one of the two pieces, or at least a tutor?
I'm far more patient than that.
Okay,
I
okay, all right.
I really don't mulligan for Unctus in any meaningful way.
Gotcha. All
I
right.
basically just want a hand with some mana and untapper and some interaction. You know what I mean?
You know, I do what I don't. Is like I see exactly what you're saying. Like, it's the way you play. You want to basically you're just trying to survive the extra turn because the extra turn is your untap. Essentially, it's like you're
Hmm.
putting your interaction into surviving for a mass untap when your turn comes around.
Hmm.
For me, I'm just trying to pump everything to going faster, more untaps now, and it doesn't work. I mean, I did pretty well actually. Like was it last week, but not yeah, not. I need to be. I know the consistency issue is going to come from not having enough interaction,
Hmm.
and more importantly, like knowing how and when to use it. I think is the thing. Is like I think I got so frustrated being a newer player, not knowing how to use it, that I stopped wanting to use it because I knew I was making bad decisions about it. Now I feel like I could probably make okay decisions about it. All right, what did I miss to put in there? I moved over here was okay. So Grim Monolith I pulled out as an option. I think
I don't think it's necessary. I
I
think it's
not
fine.
if I'm not doing the go go thing,
Yeah.
then I agree.
Um,
Why don't we?
I say subtlety is another one to consider. If that one's certainly not necessary. I find it to be pretty useful against a lot of Grand Abolisher effects that are running around. Uh,
Yeah, does it bury a Mikey and Raph? No,
um,
because yeah, on the stack, right? It's
yeah,
yeah,
when they go to cast it,
but they have
I
to
say
have
hit the
yeah.
Atali, Raph, and Mikey. Like I said, Grand Abolisher effects. You can hit a fast Oracle with it. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, then you can get another intruder alarm.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about Drift of Phantasms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's just purely because of the sorcery speed that it's not worth.
It's purely because it literally doesn't have text of transmute.
What do you mean?
If it's a 3 mana 0/5 with defender and flying is not something I care about. Like, I would probably play Muddle the Mixture before I played Drift of Phantasms, and I'm not playing
Okay,
that
so
either.
getting intruder alarm is not important enough to do this.
No,
Gotcha.
we have enough density of other win conditions that
We're
I
not
just
actually searching for intruder alarm.
yeah.
Interesting.
Like I said, rewrite history is another one that I think you would pretty reasonably consider.
I think I have a copy too.
Mhm.
I'll have to go see.
Yeah.
99.
We need one more.
Whew. Now, you're off Agatha's again, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And we have endurance, so we don't have like I usually want to have one or the other, right? To mess with graveyards, but let's go jump over to your list real quick and see what we see that I don't have. So let's maybe Boreal Druid, huh? Should I finally play it?
Yeah. Like I said, the elf con is important. Having Wirewood Symbiote be a one mana 1/1 with no text is not something you want to have happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's no different than having to manage Delighted Halfling.
Yeah.
Really, and that's not an elf, right? It doesn't give me the extra value, so I think I've got a copy, and I honestly would be happy to give it a shot. Let's go Boreal. Oh, it's already in here. Okay, I see. Boreal. There we go. Cool. No, it's here. Yeah, and then the other thing I would keep considering is the City of Traders. Wait, what just happened? Why did I go to 101? Oh, the drift went in. That's why. Yeah, City of Traders just to continue on my, turn to Alaundo fix.
Yeah, I was never displeased with City of Traders in the deck. It was always fine. I just focus more on producing my colors of mana as opposed to speed.
Yep. What do you think about Sakura Tribe Scout? Because I look at it and go, I need to have enough lands, obviously, in my deck, so it's very, very conditional in that sense. But there's so many times where I just go, this would be so helpful, whether it's querying ranger situations or not. But then if I go down that road, I also have to kind of go down like, well, why don't we just play a Shia? If we're tutoring for Chakram Retriever, why aren't we just tutoring for a Shia? Which is not. I say that kind of tongue in cheek because I don't know the Ashaya loops. I know there's a querying ranger thing. I get we could probably do a bunch of shenanigans, but
It doesn't work.
Lands just don't. Yeah, lands don't seem to be the thing to do here.
Yeah, I don't think it is either. The only thing I think is the mana base with the Flooded Grove. I think is the only one that I would probably change now that you're off
the
enchantments. I thought, yeah.
I'm still on the one, but yeah, that's not enough for me to worry about it. It's always Utopia Sprawl that solves that. Well, in that case, do I throw in the City of Traders and keep it fast, or go for my basic forest? I feel like that's the responsible thing to do, which is why I'll do the City of Traders.
I won't fault you for City of Traders.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for it. I'm good. I want it that way. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Let's give it a quick couple mulligans here. So
no lands.
Not great. Here's my city. Ooh.
Is fast. You risk dying early.
Fire. So breeding. Oh god.
So you want to go so fast, but you really do have to play Utopia Sprawl on turn 1.
I'm like, the sequencing on this is super important, and what you draw is super important here too, actually. So okay, sure. Yeah, it's basically got to be here for Sprawl. Next turn. I could technically get City of Traders, float 1, float 4, get them both.
Yep. That's exactly what I was thinking.
And then next turn, take one off the mana vault, and then I mean I'll get the.
Yep.
Let's
And
go.
so you float mana from the City of Traders and play your Verdant or Command Tower, doesn't matter.
Yeah, go get my drop.
Mm-hmm.
So because I got the
So,
chakram, 1, 2, 3. Actually, I don't really know what I can
so
do.
you technically have enough to cast it, but you don't have a specific spell to follow it up with. I would just be patient.
Right, like
I
just be
would
like
leave
just
up.
pass. Yeah, get to next
Yep.
turn, keep the subtlety in hand,
Yep.
and just chill until end step, and then see how far we get.
Yep.
Go with the seeker first, and then
Yep.
Marvin and the dork,
Yep.
and we're good. And then new turn, draw. Thanks. This is still tapped.
But now you've got enough mana to cast the Chakram and then trigger it twice with Seeker and Elvish Mystic.
How am I getting there with the? I've got 4.
Oh right, you
One
didn't have
second, let me
the
see it.
yeah. Last time it was the City of Traders. Never mind.
Oh right, yeah. So I mean, I could technically. I mean, I still.
You still have enough to cast it, but you won't have
Right.
triggers for it
I'll have to rely on whatever
specifically.
I get from Alaundo.
Yeah, which I mean, you'll have 3 activations, so it's not unreasonable.
So there goes 1. Uh, the glimmering will get exiled. Then cast the elvish.
Interestingly enough, I'm probably exiling the subtlety before I exile the.
Casting.
Right.
Okay. I assume keep this to evoke it to get a chakra trigger. If assuming I get a blue card, well, which I have now.
Mhm.
So it's a lot of resources for one on tap, unfortunately, though, and I still have to cast chakram, so it's not great.
Yeah.
But that was my logic there. Now, untap target creature, so I'm still kind of screwed on my. No, okay. So now I'm down to sorcery speed, and I could cast the chakram.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if someone tries to counter that, I might be able to mental misstep it if I need to. Worse, and I can
Yep.
subtlety. So we just keep going. So I draw. Yeah, it'll be the bird.
Mm-hmm.
Because I played a land for turn already. That island.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you did. Yeah, you played the island.
So I need to get this as soon as I can. And then Marvin will give me the cast on it at least. And now I exile the subtlety.
Mm-hmm.
We go on cast, Shotgun Retriever, activate Alaundo, draw a card. Oh, these evoke ones are killing me here. So we just evoke at 3, and we're toast. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that was on my end step. So now we go into new turn, and life's good.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you get to this point, you're definitely winning the game. But
Right. I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, the thing about that end step strategy is that, and I think that does go back around to deck construction. Is if you're not built for instant speed and you need to get your stuff out at sorcery speed during your turn, then
Mhm.
you don't have this flexibility where you can just sort of surprise the table after they've already used all their resources to fight each other. Hopefully, I think that's the other. I don't want to say problem, not problem. It's a benefit here of this strategy too. Is like we don't have to play into mystics and ristics right away. We can let people pay for them hopefully one round at least, so we get to hold off a bit. It's not a great, to the political benefit, but it's there. Um, Maybe a question would be why don't we play more draw engines? Why aren't we sloppier with the Heartwood or with a copy enchantment or Verity Circle or Polywog Prodigy? We've played in the past. Wan Shi Tong. What do you think the density of draw engine should be? Is it just the 3 to 4 pieces of like Fairy Mastermind Mystic Ristic? Now rewrite.
Yeah, I just think we're worse at that slop plan than other decks are.
Mm.
Um, Every piece we include to increase our ability to slop is another piece that we don't have towards our actual game plan. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And any turn that we take off to play a slot piece like a copy enchantment or something like that is another turn off of getting a Londo into play or getting an untapper into play, which is something that actually progresses us toward our win.
Right. Yep. Yeah, I think if it was, it would be a version that has really just all spell. It'd be a spell slinger version. I imagine.
Yeah.
I'll make it someday. It's fine. No, I think this is good. I think this is a good base for tomorrow, and I'm trying to see, is there any obvious didn't go with the spell skite, stuck with the shore up octopus form,
Mm-hmm.
um trait numbness, rural chain stasis, collector oof. Yep, not doing gifts, not doing intuition.
I want to make Kaho work so bad.
So
It
bad,
just
dude. I
doesn't.
know, and it's just
It
like there,
just doesn't quite get there.
but there's a Shang-Chi opportunity, but again, you're
Mm-hmm.
just trying to force something. Then just make Kaho your no.
Yeah.
But then I was like, yeah, but it's Chakram Retriever, is 5. If we're gonna be tutoring for that, like, why not? And even if it was with 1,000-year elixir entering, I don't know. I see it. Isochron Scepter also, like, I just keep wanting this, because of Kitza, because I'm on the Kitza,
Uh-huh.
stuff still, that this should still work. And in the artifact package, I figured it would, and because I can return it to my hand, even if I don't imprint anything, who cares? Bring it
Mm-hmm.
back, exile it again, give me something else. So,
Yeah.
um,
I think it would work better in a sloppier version where you can actually, accumulate a bunch of cards in hand and then, untap an Isochron
yep.
or Valley Foot Clutter into an Isochron at instant speed or something like that. Like I said, it's one of those cards where like it works so much better in theory than it does in practice. And I've never gone back on it simply because it baits you into holding your vitalize and stuff rather than just casting it and getting the value you want from it
Yep.
sooner.
We're playing E-Witness. We don't have to play Snap because we don't care about infinite mana, yeah.
Nope.
And we've never been on Survival of the Fittest.
I tried it for a second, but it was not very good.
Yep. Talon Gates. Again, if we were gonna do the Gaia's Cradle loop thing, we would need whatever other fairy it was that they have. We're good. Twiddle. Good. Watch Talon Word of Invention is what I'm playing. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with this version. I mean, I think this. I don't know. Did I kill off any synergies I had that we need to bring back? Still pulled out the Mirren Spy, but still have the Valley Flood Caller. Still have the Chakram
Mhm.
Retriever, so that's good enough.
Oh, if you're on Unctus, I do think you should be on Born Upon a Wind.
Yeah,
But yeah.
I'm happy with that. And so what's the okay? Like we said earlier, right? So let's say you have the mana, you have Unctus in hand. Stack battle's going doing its thing. You get to the end of it, you cast Born Upon a Wind, you cast Unctus, tap on tap infinitely. You're casting Thassa as well. I mean, you have to have a good amount of mana to do this, right? You're gonna have to have basically like 6, like 3 blue, 3 colorless.
Uh,
That's pretty doable.
yeah. And the way I see it, like, if for whatever reason you cast an Unctus off of an Alaundo, and you're able to start your Unctus, chain to draw a discard, you can draw a discard into Born Upon a Wind and Thassa's Oracle and still, Unctus win at instant speed.
Oh, I see. Just by sculpting your hand and then having something in your hand that gives you the flash with 1 and a blue.
Yeah.
Okay, draw a card, and now I Thoracle, and I've got
So
okay.
even if
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. And
yeah.
it would be the same thing with Seeker or Feto if they came in with haste all of a sudden. You would do it with them
Mhm.
essentially. Although you can't Unctus them, the Seeker. You can't make it
At
blue
instant speed.
and it's the speed. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Rewrite History, I'm pretty excited about, actually. I gotta go do a little digging here to get the copy of this, but I've got my Marvel stuff still set aside somewhere, I think.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too. Like I said, I've gone to two card shops now, and they just haven't had a copy of it, which just seems crazy for an uncommon, but
Right? No,
it is what it is.
I think that's probably is. They just been throwing it away. It's probably available by the dozen in the bulk bin.
Mhm.
Um, cool. Yeah.
So
So
I'm not
super.
noticing anything super, super missing or anything, but
Yeah. Title
I'm
board.
also not used to looking at decks and architected.
Um, let's see yours again. So Boreal. I'm gonna skip the Badger Mole on the
Mhm.
Quirion. Volatile Stormdrake. You have me interested on that. Um,
I've been pretty pleased with it, generally speaking.
let's take a look here in the in the one and an X slot. I don't want to take
So
out
I
the.
think it would probably take the like flesh duplicate slot for you, or Spellseeker probably.
Oh, you know what? Spellseeker feels better because again, I hate to say it, but I just keep not wanting that card.
Mhm.
You know what's weird with Spellseeker is like if it felt like it was going to be a win, and sometimes it just feels like whatever I'm getting with Spellseeker is not good enough. Dramatic reversal, benefactor's draft should get you there most of the time, but like I don't know, it just and then maybe it's better for interaction. Maybe I should be really just using it to pull pieces instead.
Mhm.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go sideboard with the spell seeker and grab a volatile storm drake. Throw that in. I like that because I like even when it was like having gilded drake, I still liked having that as well.
Mhm.
And with all the Kinnan Teamer stuff out there, I'm sure I can steal a Seaborn Muse. Oh no, it would die, wouldn't it? Damn.
It would.
No, that's okay. If I can't have it, no one can. Cool.
Yep.
That puts me at 101 though. Where did my? I was taking out the spell seeker. I thought I did
That's
take
what I
out the
thought.
spell seeker. It's over here. Maybe I'm doing something wrong using like I'm using this the way I've always used it, and I don't know. Volatiles here. Act, octopus form, force, buster. I'll figure it out. Here.
I don't know.
Weird. Oh, it was the Born. I put the Born in without taking something out.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think because you're on the Sewer Valence Cam Valley Flood Color stuff, you probably don't need bracers too. I think bracers just would be your worst combo card in the deck.
it's so sad. And I don't want that to be the case, like because it draws out so much interaction in a good way sometimes. But it really only wins in the easier pods, and that's probably my bias. Is like I'm usually in the lower brackets, and so like it only wins when people don't really know what they're doing.
Mhm.
Oof, I hate to say that out loud, but that might be the case. All right, well now my artifact package is 7, so you're right. There's no Mopal here.
Nope.
Um, back to 100. Let's take a look. Not bad. That's a turn to Alaundo with a distraction Shang-Chi.
Yep.
Not great. So I hate to say I'd probably keep this just because
I'd probably keep it too. You know, if you need to volatile Stormdrake, you actually have that. You actually have that option now to finale for a piece of interaction of some kind.
right.
Uh,
Yeah, not bad.
And if you don't, it's a turn to Alaundo.
Right. Glittering, not much to do with it. Unctus in hand, not the worst, but I don't have an elf. Like if this had a dork, like an elf dork, it would be perfect.
Yeah, it would be pretty good.
Let's
I don't
see.
think it's quite good enough.
City. Okay. Tropical for delighted. And then I have to decide if I want
You
to go
trade with
turn
Alaundo.
2 for Alaundo and then turn 3 for the Mystic. I think that's probably depends on the table maybe. But I've got the mind break, so like I'm definitely getting to turn 3.
Yeah, I think I would wait till turn 3 for the Mystic.
Yeah. Let's see. Mental firewood, no ramp. Nope.
Yeah, no, and it'll keep.
Do. I mean, turn 2 rewrite history.
Yeah, I might try this just because, turn 2 rewrite history, letting your mana dork loot while producing mana is more likely to get you to another land that'll get you to a turn 3 Alaundo. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm just curious if we keep this Marvin. So we go here, here. Okay, we got our land. So Manamo.
I think I'm playing Marvin instead of rewrite history now.
Yeah. Uh, oops. 1, 2. Marvin. New turn 3. Alaundo.
Mm-hmm.
With so much interaction.
Yeah.
And then
Let's see.
we'll wait for the next end step, and then
Mm-hmm.
activate Marvin.
Yep.
Oh God. So I think we actually do this then as a distraction instead, right?
Yeah,
Oh
I
no,
think
no, because
I think so.
we need the haste.
We do need the haste, but like regardless, yeah, because we've got a Manamo down there, so we'll have you got to exile the Irith right now.
Yeah. There's no real way around it. And then you get everything you need to defend it on the cast anyway. So
Yeah,
new turn. We go. Oh, we got a Copperhorn now too. We're good to go.
yeah.
That's the beauty of Copperhorn when it comes in. Is like, okay, I'm gonna throw it right here, and no matter
Mm-hmm.
like 2 and
Is
rewrite.
it probably just a rewrite? Yeah.
What do you just like cast rewrite?
No, I exile the rewrite.
Yeah,
What I mean?
I mean, and I would have said maybe we had done that before the copper because you do have enough untaps anyway to still get the Copperhorn, and then the rewrite would
Yeah.
be one more ahead. So like we could technically like put that on 1 and put this on 2, but
I just figured, doing it this way, you'll be able to Manamo plus leave open dramatic reversal.
yeah, exactly. Right, we go here. It doesn't really matter. We can do it there, and then we'll untap Alaundo, tap Alaundo, draw a card, and it's going to be the Utopia Sprawl.
Yeah, probably.
1 Yorith here. All right, and then we have to fight over Yorith. Probably, most likely, the Pact goes, and the Subtlety.
They're probably
There,
not casting creature spells that are relevant. It's probably just mind break job.
yeah. So we'll cast the Mind Break as well. Not cast, just as a gold fishing thing. Cool, and then we're good to go. We just go infinite. Um, we'll be able
Yeah,
to jump through our deck here. We'll
and
yeah.
do me a favor real quick before let's just assume Irith hasn't resolved yet.
Sure.
So back up just a little bit, and
Just back out. Well,
yeah,
we'll call this the Alaundo trigger essentially.
yeah. So we're everything's tapped, right? So except for the dork. So Alaundo and Marvin are both tapped. We tap the land and the Findhorn elves for dramatic reversal.
Do this. Yep.
Yeah, dramatic reversal. This is just me pretending that you're like stuck on the stack for some reason,
Sure.
um, just to
Oh,
see how good rewrite history ends up being.
love it. Okay, so we untap our permanents or
Yep.
non-permanents. You want to keep going on the stack, yeah?
Yeah.
We'll go. Shang-Chi can tap, so we want that if we're going to go this rewrite strategy. Then we go Utopia Sprawl onto our tropical island, declaring blue. Then we Marvin as Alaundo, draw a card, exiling Endurance now.
Probably, it mostly doesn't matter. Probably Endurance, though.
Yeah, I think because we have the Subtlety 3. Cool. Shang-Chi, Rewrite History. We cast Rewrite History. Now we're going to
Tap the dork for mana, draw discard.
Draw card. Just discard the island, I guess.
Yeah, yep. Doesn't matter.
And
that's kind of it. But I was just kind of.
Well, now, okay, but I mean, even if this gets countered, so that was one. That's one counter on there, right? So let's say Yorth does get countered. Go to combat.
Copperhorn. Now trigger to draw discard.
Is that how that works? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. We got that.
Or I guess technically you can order those whichever way you want. I think.
Will become tapped. Draw a card. Sure. I mean, it would just be from the attack, declaring attackers, I guess.
Yeah.
So discard this land again, I think, because we're doing this in someone's end step. I'm thinking, right? No, this is our turn.
We're currently in our combat step, and we just discard the land. I think we played a land already.
Exactly right. All right, so that's that. Okay, we got, and we're floating our green, but we have our attack trigger right now.
Yeah.
We can.
So we just resolve our attack trigger.
Just do this, and then. What's your preference usually? Do you come out of combat, or do you just keep going right in combat when you do the Copperhorn?
I think I probably do it in combat just in case we find Wirewood Symbiote. We can save Copperhorn Scout from a blocker, basically. Is my thought.
I like that. Okay. Yep. All right. So we will activate Alaundo, and now we can stack these two triggers, or is it Alaundo trigger first?
No, the
first.
Rewrite has to happen first.
Yep. Okay. Just like Unctus, essentially. So same thing here. Mm-hmm. Okay. So now I'm probably gonna push the subtlety.
Yeah.
Yep.
And actually, another thing I just forgot about is, if for whatever reason they did have a counter for Erith, we could have actually subtletied our own Erith and put it back on top of our library.
That would have worked well because we would have had 2 untaps plus the Legolas, so we would have gotten there actually with that too.
Yeah, I think we would have got there with it.
So we would have pitched the Fluster with it.
Yeah.
That's cool though. That's a good use of that. I didn't think about it. I'm good. I mean, I think rewrite history is pretty good here. So if we keep, let's see, we do Marvin draw.
So rewrite
discard again.
Should now be on 3.
Yeah. We float off the Finhorn and then these 2 activations. Yep. So now we have to kind of do it all at instant speed, or we just get back. Or are you saying like we should throw away like something we're about to get back? No, because we're gonna get the mind break.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure what we do here is rather than exile the Ancient Tomb, we exile the Intruder Alarm, use the Finhorn Elves, we would have had to... Yeah, because it's a reflexive trigger, so it's fine. Finhorn Elves for Legolosses, and then use the rewrite history to pick up the Legolosses all over again. So Intruder Alarm is an exile.
Wow, you're okay with that? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, it's an exile with 10 cards on it. Is what I mean.
Oh, sorry. You're saying we activate Alaundo to get to it.
Yeah, because you had exiled the Ancient Tomb before. I guess I thought you did.
No, this was off of the rewrite history.
Oh, it was the draw discard.
Yeah, gotcha. So I just drew the Ancient Tomb, and now we have to decide what to discard here.
Yeah, it would just be the discard, the Ancient Tomb.
Yeah, okay.
For sure.
That's what I thought. So then let's I'm going. There's nothing wrong with letting the second part resolve. Like when you do return up to 2 target instant or sorcery cards from your graveyard to your hand, like that's beautiful.
Yeah,
I
but
want the
I think
dramatic
this is the
ending.
yeah, we want the dramatic reversal back, and we want, in this case, what I would probably do is tap the Finhorn Elves, get the fourth plan trigger, cast the LQR in response to it, and then pick up LQR and dramatic reversal.
Yeah. Do you ever wonder about putting it on Marvin instead of Alaundo if you're going to be doing an untap back and forth type thing with another untapper, or is it worth always having the three instead of the two? It just depends on what the board's got, or you don't.
Yeah, it kind of depends on what the board's got. Doing it on Marvin is perfectly reasonable, especially with the rewrite history. If we're gonna try and go, if
Right,
you were
they could
gonna
both
try and
might
go
both
over
have it. Yeah,
top, yeah, they would both.
that makes sense. Okay, so then we've done that. We tap here. We get a fifth. Oh, I didn't actually do the fourth one, did I? Oh no, I did. Yeah. So then we draw. Okay, I got Magic Damper. And sorry, these are all on my graveyard.
So reversals in hand still, right?
This is in
Or
graveyard.
no, that's still in graveyard because we haven't let the thing resolve yet.
Yep. Um,
We have to exile a card right now.
we have to discard.
Oh yeah, we've discarded. It's at this point, it's probably the Flusterstorm. Like if they haven't stopped us by now, they're probably not going to.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Um, now the rewrite history does the thing, and we grab dramatic and what? And legless.
Yeah. Well, like, if at this point, like, it looks like we are going to fizzle, at this point, I'm just picking up Mindbreak Trap and Pact Negation or something like that. Like, and
Okay.
just making sure I don't die. And then, even if we don't die, slam an Intruder Alarm with double backup. You know what I mean?
Yep. I like it. You basically just back off for the turn. You don't need it. You've got the intruder alarm. You've even got Forbidden Orchard, so you just need to survive until we get around to our turn again. Yeah. That
Yeah.
makes way more sense. I like rewrite history because that's basically just gonna let you pump that stuff in there. You don't have to worry about what you're discarding necessarily. You can discard dramatic reversal for all you care as long as you get to the fourth untap.
Uh-huh.
Very cool. Um, I think that's gonna be some sweet tech. All right. Well, I'm gonna go build this physically because I gotta get it ready for tomorrow. I'm gonna go to this Fringe Fest, and I really appreciate you spending the time, man. Um, our
Yeah.
little community is growing, dude. Like it was weird, but I couldn't believe I'm sitting across from this guy who's playing Raph and Mikey, and he's just like, "So you're the other Alaundo player?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Are you Martian?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm not Martian. I'm Lozando." He's like, "Oh, I know you're Lozando. Okay." So it's that guy Smart Monkey in the Discord, and his
Mhm.
brother is the other guy, and yeah,
Yeah.
he's just starting out. Literally their first tournament ever today.
Mhm.
And it was really just funny to see somebody else playing Alaundo. Yeah, it was crazy. Um, I feel bad for him because like in my meta, like I've played it enough, kind of like you played enough. The people in your tournaments know you eventually, and they've lost to you a couple times. You know what I mean? Like, and they know how dangerous you really can be. So it sucks sometimes, but he's getting like secondhand Londo, mistreatment.
Yeah, I actually had that happen to me too. We had ended up with one of the other uh, Alaundo players at my local game store as well.
That's
It had
awesome.
happened.
Are they in the Discord?
They were. I don't think they are anymore. I think they moved off the deck. They were playing
Okay.
Tim and Dargo last I checked.
Yeah, I keep picking up other decks just to check for stuff for us. Like I want to look at Crystal and just see if anybody's doing anything cool, but I don't expect anything special because of the four colors. Arkham Dagson, that's really where the surveillance focus came from for me. Was like, there's got to be something there. And the cool thing about surveillance is it only works because of Alaundo for us. We can only recycle it because of his ability, and that's what makes it cool and unique for us. Is like looking for more pieces like that do that double duty. Corridor monitor might make an appearance in the version of it. Doesn't seem like there's gonna be anything cool from Star Trek for us. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm sure there'd be something.
Yeah,
Even if it is just another untapper to replace the Wavebreak Hippocamp.
I think we're gonna get some really good untapper. I hope so. Mermaid stuff always gets it, so or merfolk.
Yeah.
Born Upon a Wind, huh? I really have to play it. Interesting.
Kind of the only one that does what it does, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
And so the
yeah.
only thing to watch out for is if it's literally the last card of your library, you can't do it. Because it cantrips itself.
Shit, yeah. Okay.
That's another thing to remember about Unctus and Rewrite History is you have to make sure you produce the mana before you deck yourself. So, when you've got 2 or 3 cards in library, you need to be able to tap your creatures to produce your blue. Draw discard those last 2 cards because you're
Yes.
in
Right.
theory, yeah, because it's forced to just draw discard. It's not a may.
So, I mean, part of that strategy too could be take your time, take the Alaundo activations along the way. If you you don't have them though, do you? I was gonna say like you can
Mhm.
cast more blue spells to get the pips up to make it a little less tight, but that's
Mhm.
not really what you're doing here. You're going right to the end.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just have to count. Go, okay, yeah, I've got my Birds of Paradise and my Arbor Elf.
Yep.
I just need to make sure I've got 4 cards or more.
Yep.
Other so anything about the Thoracle ETB, copying the Thoracle ETB with Echo.
Hmm.
Should people and that's something just again like for people who if you get to the point where you're playing Alaundo and you're doing the stack battle thing, first of all, remember that using the stack is burying their spells. Like we don't care what they cast. We're gonna just respond over the top of it if we want to. If you have an early Thoracle and you're doing the Alaundo thing and you have nothing else to exile and you just have to, it's still okay. Just keep
Yep.
digging because you can leave that trigger there and wait and wait and wait and wait. Or who cares? Put it on the battlefield. Wait for your flesh duplicate. Wait for your retraction helix.
Yep.
There's a lot of ways where you don't have to be super sensitive about Thoracle, which is I think super important about the deck. Is like I think you said this earlier. Is like just you shouldn't be afraid to exile anything.
Hmm.
Meaning it should have the purpose one way or the other. Maybe there's some interaction pieces that don't. And that kind of sucks. You have to hard cast a Force of Will. It has no target. It stays in exile forever, sure. But
Yeah.
most of these pieces will have some dual purpose. That's why Subtlety's there. It's why Endurance is there because we are Intruder Alarm deck. There's all those little pieces here and there. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Every part of the buffalo.
Let's
Well,
see. Cool. All right,
so
man.
the only
Well,
other thing I was going to mention is that was a card I was going to talk about is Bridgeworks Battle and the other, Sink into Stupor and Hydroelectric Specimen, the Bolt lands.
yeah.
Those were the only ones that I was, going to talk about. I just don't find that there's enough room in the mana base. You want them to take up a land slot, not a spell slot, because they're just not good enough as spells. Um, I think if you wanted to cut 2 lands and go to 25 lands, but play 2, bolt lands, I would play Bridgework Battle and Sink into Stupor.
Where's
And I would probably cut the Pathway and the Botanicals Sanctum.
is
Or
Bridgeworks in here somewhere? This is your deck though.
it's in the sideboard. As I'm not currently playing it because I really value uh
Got it here.
my land pips that highly.
Plus it another turn, fights another creature. Okay, yep.
They're poor interaction spells, but they are lands. And
Right.
kind of when you're storming off, you want
Right.
to have a high density of spells. So.
And they can be exiled. Yeah, that
Mhm.
it's it's like going back to when you play casual Londo, you play abundance, right? So you get to decide
Mhm.
if you're gonna draw a real card or not.
Mhm.
Which does bring up and I know it's mostly because of there was an episode of That's a Good Card talking about Leyline of Singularity, the everything's a legendary. I love the idea. Well, mostly because I love it popping treasures and popping foods and um, doing that legendary thing, but also making Yorith badass out of nowhere. I don't know. I it'll be in the sideboard for a while. Let's see.
Yeah.
Um,
All right.
yeah.
I think I think that's all I got. I think it's about bedtime for me.
All right,
So I'm sure it was 1:18 or whatever for you because you're in Eastern time.
you got it. I am. It is late, but I'm gonna finish up this deck and I'll probably post it before going to bed.
Okay.
Appreciate the help, man. I'll shoot over the videos too. I'll probably put them up on Google Drive or something like that first. Like I think that's what I did last time, and I'll shoot them too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or maybe they can just be uploaded right to Discord.
I'm not sure.
I'll figure it
Maybe.
out. All right, man. Let me stop.